welcome to the afternoon session of FAB-Racing here at Llandow. The second time that we've been here, and the lunch break's just finished. Plenty of action to come underway. There's 2 race 2s left and the whole of race 3s. So coming up for the start of our afternoon programme will be the senior mini moto class. It'll be the senior mini moto race 2, their first race of the day. They've had to wait till the afternoon, but I am sure it'll be worth the wait. My name is Lewis Ray, and alongside me this weekend is Ross McIntyre. Ross, how are you?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. Yeah, been really good morning of racing, really good weekend of racing in general. And the sun is shining, even though the weather last night said it was going to be torrential downpour all day. So don't trust your weather apps is what I've learned this weekend, although I probably should have learned that at the last round because it was also wrong. But we are getting ready for the senior mini motos, and honestly I think it's a good thing that they're racing in the afternoon. It gives the chance for the majority of them to shake off the excess alcohol that they were probably drinking last night, to be brutally honest. But it is got a bit of a crowd forming already. Lunch break coming to an end. Everyone having their food from the cafe, from the burger van. Maybe they've brought something from the shop. We'll have to go around and ask what everyone had for lunch, but it was quite good. So just waiting to go out onto the grid now for the senior mini motos have been quite naughty because we've been given yet another grid, so even more penalties from qualifying being applied after everyone apparently cut the track. So everyone's a little bit out of position, it would seem. But yeah, so just waiting to go out onto the grid. There we go, coming out now. So, senior mini motos, race 2 and race 1, very exciting, of course. Bit of drama, a lot of reliability issues as well, which was a bit concerning. We had about half the bikes ended up, that might be an exaggeration, but about half the bikes weren't going round come the end of it, which was a bit weird to say the least. And some major players in the senior mini moto game here. FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship here, round 6 of course, at the South Wales Karting Centre in Llandow. So some of the big players in the senior mini moto found themselves not scoring anything, which is a big surprise. And it opened up a whole host of opportunities for other riders to scythe their way through the remaining pack and pick up some points, which is of course great to see. The dominant force so far in the Senior Mini Motos Championship in 2022 rather, should I say, has been none other than Will Howarth. He had a 94-point lead coming into this weekend, but he's just checking out his bike, I could see. You can see him in the centre, roughly, of your picture there, just having a look around and picking up where Bernie Hook left off last year. Of course, Mr. Senior Mini Moto himself in his final season, or full-time season, because he did actually come back for like 2 races at one point earlier in the year. One I wasn't there, which was really nice of him. So Will Howarth has been dominant, but of course, race 1 was pretty chaotic, pretty hectic, as all the senior mini moto races are. So we'll have to wait and see, Lewis, what's going to happen.
Yeah, certainly. It looks like going onto the grid, our grid sheet here, people are already out of position. It looks like Matt Birkin, who we have starting in 5th position, is actually in 6th right now. So
yeah, Matt Birkin and Chris Yeomans, I think, are just swapped, it looks like.
Yeah, a bit of confusion on the grid, but it's going to be a cracking race. Perfect conditions, actually, for racing. Took quite a while for a lot of these guys to come onto the grid. It looks like further down the grid, there's already even more confusion going on with grid slots and people being in the wrong positions. But it looks like we're going to get underway on this one warm-up lap. It's going to be Josh Birkin starting in pole position alongside Craig Ashall. Holly Harris, British Talent Cup rider, will be starting in 3rd with Will Howarth, who's just won a Moto team race this morning, in 4th. Matt Birkin should be starting in 5th, and Chris Yeomans in 6th. Reece Gentry will be starting in 7th with Nick Bennett in 8th. David Myatt in 9th. Callum White will be starting in 10th. Shannon King will be starting 12th. Lamar Morgan rounds out our top 12. Mark Payne will be starting 13th. Keaton Payne will be starting 14th. Ross Michael 15th. Alberto Venteo will be starting 16th. Robert Kitsley will be starting 17th. Rob Gentry 18th. And Duncan Diper rounds out our 19 bike field that we have here in the senior mini moto class. It's a massive grid, and it's going to be great racing that we have here. A bit of confusion on the grid, but I'm sure that will not affect the racing that we're going to get.
Yeah, my eyes, of course, on Matt Birkin, who very impressively had a face full of dirt before turn 1 yesterday. Ripped the visor off. He tried to go around again and then got told you've not got a visor on. Holly Harris as well, British Talent Cup rider, going off a P3 after all the penalties have been applied, which I believe is her best qualifying position this year. She was running really well yesterday, unfortunately slid off the bike coming through the opening hook section, and did manage to recover on, but unfortunately dreams of a podium tarnished early on. So Holly Harris, one to watch. Matt Burke, and of course, let's see if he decides to get onto the deck even earlier this race. I'm sure he'll be managing to stay on. He's been in a few big crashes this season already, I think it's safe to say. So let's hope that he is all okay. But it is his brother Josh starting from the pole position. Craig Ashall alongside him. It's the second Mini Moto senior race. The red lights, they come on, and it is red lights out. We're underway. A great start for Josh Birkin. He gets away well. Craig Ashall hasn't really got. He's dropped a lot of position on the line. It's Will Howard who slid into second place. Holly Harris as well, a disappointing start for her. She's dropped back a few positions, but Josh Birkin will be leading from Will Howard from fourth on the grid, and there are your front two, and already starting to bridge a gap. Matt Birkin already trying to negotiate up into third place, and look at that, Will Howard already looking to the inside of that number two of Josh Birkin, maybe trying into, no, that is unbelievable, Will Howard, up the inside into Chalmers. He's done it today in Moto Team, he's done it again in Mini Motos, brilliant.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of moves through that corner this weekend. They're so impressive. It's such a bumpy corner. It's so difficult to make a move. So you have to have pure commitment in your bike, in your tires, in everything, and in your ability. Now that we're just coming around to finish the first lap of this race. It's been an action-filled lap. And then we're going to properly get to see where everyone is. But the Birkin brothers are on charge right now. Josh and Matt are chasing Will Howard, who leads away by 0.6 of a second. There on your screen right now is the number 85 of Chris Yeomans, but Holly Harris has dropped all the way back down to 8th position, so definitely not what she'll be wanting off the line. She started in 3rd, but she is a British Talent Cup rider. She's used to this close battles and this close racing. She had a tip-off yesterday, but I'm sure Birkin brothers are battling away. Looks like Matt has got ahead of Josh, and now clearly Matt thinks he has the pace to catch up to Will.
Yeah, superb start from Matt Birkin from 5th on the grid after a penalty. Managed to make it through turn one cleanly this time, as in he actually got to it without coming off, and it's Will Howard who shot off into the distance, but Matt Birkin now giving chase some moves further down the field as well. I believe it's David Myatt in swapping places there, and there we can see as well battles all throughout the pack, as we're oh so used to here in the senior mini motos. This is the fight for 4th place. Got Bennett, Ashall, Jonas Gentry, Holly Harris just on the tail of them as well. A 5-bike battle just outside of the podium places. And when will the senior mini moto antics start to shine? When will they all start to push the envelope of the rules, as they so often do? Oh, I do love this class so much. But it is, at the moment, Chris Yeomans running in P6. Just in front of him, Craig Ashall. Well, actually, no, Craig Ashall's dropped behind, so Chris Yeomans has got through at the start of this lap with 7 tours left remaining of this South Wales karting circuit, the Llandow kart circuit. And Holly Harris, she's already caught back up to the back of this leading midway breakaway pack, I should rather say, after quite a disappointing start. I'm sure that she's would have been hoping for a bit better, especially considering how well she did off the line yesterday, of course. And she's looking to fight her way back through, and already looking to the inside. Oh, gave it a good old go. Unfortunately, Reece Gentry slammed the door, but was trying nonetheless, and still running in a very tight P8. And at the front of that, Craig Ashall, Nick Bennett starting to break away. Craig Ashall from 2nd on the grid did not move, it would seem. Howth, Birkin have absolutely bolted away as well. But this battle rages on. Oh, it looked like there were 3 wide there for a second going into the corner. The 85 Chris Yeomans slides past Gentry, and well, it is tight here.
Yeah, it certainly is. Will Harris leads the way by 2.6 seconds already. Holly Harris looked like she got that skin just slightly wrong, but she's slightly smaller. She's a bit more aerodynamic than these guys, so she makes her late braking move on Reece Gentry, but she has to back out of it. It's so difficult. Although it's a great dive bomb opportunity, you have to be alongside them to make it work, because it tightens up so much. But right now, Reece Gentry is right in the back of Chris Yeomans, and Chris Yeomans is doing a great job at defending here. These riders on these small bikes are so tall, and they're so wide as riders that on these small kart circuits you really have to commit to make a move, as Reece Gentry is trying to find a gap in the road to go under. But this battle right now for that 6th position is really heating up, and as we see going around the outside is Reece Gentry on Chris Yeomans. He can't make it work around the outside of there, and no, Reece Gentry cannot make that work. This will be delight to Holly Harris, because Holly Harris will see this unfold and an opportunity to make up positions. But there's Nick Bennett going down the straight. Craig Ashall just in front of this this free bike battle for this position. But Holly Harris looking down the inside once again, shoots slightly better on the brakes as we come round the line to make it 4 laps to go as Rhys Gentry makes a move down the inside of Yeomans, but he cannot make it work as Holly Harris once again is just looking to pick up the pieces of this scrap.
Very interesting. You've got the front 5 who've all kind of started to separate out a bit, which is quite unusual for a senior mini motor race. It's all down there. A rider coming out of the final hairpin. Not sure what's happened, but managed to get going once again. But yeah, the front 5 have all started to kind of separate out as again this battle rages on. Gentry looking to the inside, down at Chandler's, but Yeomans shuts the door. But you know, these 3 after the front 5, there's nothing between them, which is really quite interesting. You know, we're not used to seeing this. Usually we're just used to kind of big pack racing in the senior mini motors, but you can see that the gaps forming between the front runners, and then obviously you've got this 3 bike battle raging on as Holly Harris lurks to the inside of Rhys Gentry, gets through Rhys Gentry. Very nice move by Holly Harris to move up into P7.
Yeah, great move. You could just see her lining it up for a couple of laps. She's looked so strong on the brakes going to the final corner, but Rhys Gentry is not going down without a fight. You can just see number 100 building it up, building through his momentum. A slight mistake there, maybe something to avoid Holly Harris, but up front, Will Howarth right now looks like he's actually got overtaken by Josh Birkin. So Josh Birkin now takes the lead of the race with just 3 laps to go. Once again, the senior mini moto class towards the end of the race really starts to heat up, really starts to just bunch up. And if these guys keep going, can this even let Matt Birkin into play? And we'll have a free bike battle for the lead. But a battle further down as the leaders head now towards back markers. This is where it really starts getting interesting. It's just 2 laps to go this time around at the line. It's Josh Birkins who leads from Will Howarth.
Yeah, super charge from Josh Birkin. I mean, the Birkin, I don't know what's happened with Matt. They're just swapping places, and suddenly Josh is back in the lead again with 2 to go, of course, going from the pole position. But Will Howarth is not going to take it over. And I was like, oh my word, did they just touch, or was that me? That was definitely a touch. Somehow, they are both still on the bike. I'm not too sure what's happened. Oh dear. A big crash. Red flag coming onto the back straight. That is a big accident. Oh dear. Hopefully everybody is okay. Not quite sure who it is. But, well, as we come under the red flag, a very interesting race was unfolding. The Birkins all swapping places and Will Howarth getting involved with, and then that huge 3-bike battle. Very interesting.
Yeah, it really was, and yeah, it was a great battle. It looked like actually Josh Birkins just lost that front tyre, and then ran slightly wide into Will Howarth, which really meant that they made contact, and it slowed them both up. If that kept going, I really did think Matt Birkin probably would have got back into it. Now you can just see the riders discussing what the race was like, what's happened, everything, and yeah, now they're just talking away, chatting about what's happened. It's very hot conditions for these riders, sitting here in their levers right now, and just yeah, maybe just taking a breather, having to relax after what's happened, and it's very warm here at Llandow. We've got lucky with the weather because it was meant to rain this weekend, and we spoke about it quite a lot in the morning and yesterday, to be honest, because it's such a shock that it's actually sunny here. We've been quite lucky.
It's the same thing as Wilton. I was sat there on the Saturday at Wilton going, oh, it's going to rain all day long. And it didn't. And now, well, at least there was a little bit of rain at Wilton. And, well, now it's just completely sunny. So, very interesting to see the weather. And while the heat is rising, so is the tension as we wait for this red flag period to come to an end. And that was a very tight battle, especially that fight for 5th place between Ashel Harris and Yeomans. Titanic battle. And although the front 5 had split up, which is very strange, as we see a crowd watching along. It's very strange. I don't think I've ever seen that in a senior mini motor race before, where the front 5 have all kind of spread apart and kind of moved along. It was very strange.
Yeah, it's not what we're used to in the senior mini moto class, especially over the past couple of rounds. And if we look back to last round, obviously, well, going into this round, where Matt Birkin was leading his brother Josh. Well, Will Howarth was leading over Matt Birkin by 94 points, with Josh Birkin's missing round 5 of the championship. Because if we look back to the monumental crash that he had on the start-finish straight, that was a big one.
Yeah, ripped a chunk of muscle, not just skin, out of his arm. Basically, when he went down after the bike shot about 20 feet up in the air. His leather's shifted in it. Yeah, quite a big impact. But he's back in it now, and back in the fight, which is great to hear because of course he's in that championship fight once again. Well, both the Birkins are. It is Will Howarth who leads the way coming into this weekend with a 94 points to the good over Matt Birkin. He's got 349. Of course, that's obviously changed after round 1, but we'll have to get that confirmed. And he swept 2 of the weekends as well, round 2 and round 3, taking all 3 victories. But Matt Birkin second, Josh Birkin third as well. Craig Ashall not far behind them, and Nick Bennett as well in that in the fight still, just about. Even though we're getting into the crunch time in the season, round 6 of 8, of course, here, the second time we're visiting Llandow, the South Wales Karting Centre here for the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championships. And yeah, it's definitely hotting up in the championship. I mean, Will Howarth, of course, has dominated the season so far, but he's the Birkins are there; they're always there. Craig Ashall's been improving. You look through the list of riders who have been steadily improving, steadily getting better, and developing over the season their skills. And this could be quite tight come the end of the season if a few things go a few people's way.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is racing, and the good thing is about racing, anything can happen at any point. So all it takes is for one slight mistake, and maybe some other commitments that you might have to mess around in the championship is completely wide open. And yeah, each year we see a tight championship here in the senior mini moto class, and it's one of these classes that is a real spectacle because the likes of Rhys Gentry is in your picture right now with the black and orange leather. So we're speaking to him at the start of the weekend and talking about how you prepare for one of these races as a rider and what it's like being on these bikes as one of these riders, because it's such close racing. You're so tall, and you're almost you are too big for these bikes because these bikes are designed for kids, so they really have to make changes to the bike, changes to the handlebars and the seats to be able to even get these bikes to work and for them to be able to race them, really, because even with the changes that they make, going down the straight, they can tuck absolutely nothing in, and they're very unaerodynamic, they're inefficient,
yeah,
let's just say.
They're slower down the straights than the LC40 Elite are.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all about your corner speed here, which is why we see some of these riders almost like doing what Lewis Hull has to do, and that is really having to push throughout the corners.
Yeah, it's that's why you see these guys really rustling and justling through the corners because they've just got to carry so much speed through there to make up for the deficit on the straights. And I mean, personally, I would never get on one of these things. I think they're all absolutely mental, to be brutal honest, but it creates some absolutely fantastic racing. Hello and welcome. If you are just joining us here at round 6 for the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship at Llandow Kart Circuit at the South Wales Karting Centre, just 20 miles to the west of Cardiff. It is a lovely sunny Sunday afternoon, and it has been a great weekend's worth of racing so far. Currently just under a red flag due to an accident. Hopefully everybody is okay, but we'll get that confirmed for you as soon as we can. During the second senior mini moto race, of course, 3 races in the weekend. We've got one more race too after this to look forward to in the LS2 Helmets Mini GP 70 British Championship before we get going with our race 3s. And well, the sun, it's an unexpected but welcome surprise. It looked like on Friday night that it was going to rain all weekend, and then it rained a little bit Saturday morning, quite heavily. And then, well, Saturday night, looked at the weather again, looked like it was going to be nice and rainy all day today. We were all looking forward to a bit of rain because it's been too much sun, frankly, in the UK for the last few weeks. And now we're here and it's lovely and glorious. But it's not too warm, luckily, which is the good thing. But it's certainly heating up as the day goes on. And, well, as we just wait for the conclusion to this red flag period, if you're joining us on the FAB-Racing YouTube or Facebook pages, or you're joining us through Motorsport Radio's social media, it is an absolute pleasure to bring you along and bring you all of this action here. Yeah, so
yeah, we're just waiting for this red flag period to finish, and then we can hopefully get underway for the rest of the race 3s, because obviously this is the last races for these guys. Well, we have one more race 2 to do after this, but we can report Shannon King is up on her feet, which is a great sign.
Yeah, great sign indeed. Shannon King was the one who went down. Yeah, it's great to see that Shannon is up on her feet and doing well. And hopefully that means we can get going pretty soon. Obviously, all the best to Shannon. Hopefully she's all okay. But, yeah, pretty horrible accident. But great to see her up on her feet. That is absolutely brilliant. And that means that the race should be restarted pretty soon. But we'll keep you updated with what we're being told in our ears. And we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we have to wait and see what is going to happen with this restart of the race. And just while we're finishing up with this red flag period, joining me in the commentary box is Philip Sorowiak. Philip, how are you?
I'm alright, yeah. Just enjoying a little ice cream now while I'm waiting for the race to continue, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty warm out here at Llandow. How has it been on the bike at such hot conditions?
It's not that bad. I mean, I'm kind of used to it now because Thruxton it was a lot warmer, and so now it feels cool for me. It's not that bad. It's perfect weather for riding, in my opinion.
And you've been racing at Stream 200s for most of the year. Whenever you've been here at FAB, you missed, I believe, 1 or 2 rounds due to some other commitments. So how have you found racing in the extreme class?
Yeah, it's been really fun having some nice battles with Evan Belford and even Bailey at Ello Park and Sullivan Mountsey. So it's really nice, it's competitive, and it's been a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, you can just see a couple of the riders going back to the holding area, and the race has been called. And Will Howarth will take the race win as it has been brought back a lap due to the red flag. But it was a great race, and it's great seeing these riders having so much commitment, such small bikes. But it's great having you up here, Philip, and it's beautiful conditions for racing, as you've already mentioned. And Philip, you've been racing the Talent Cup this year. Who have you found to be the hardest competitor?
I mean, I'm not really sure. I'm moving a lot through the pack, so there's some races where I'm 17th, some races where I'm fighting for 15th. So it's been a bit, I don't really have like a main rival, but I'm just fighting with whoever's kind of like similar pace to me.
And we had Evan Belford up here earlier on, and I'm going to ask him the same question as you. What's your favourite track that you've raced on so far this year? Because you've raced on quite a lot of tracks, you know, from Knockhill to the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit.
I liked Silverstone a lot. I really like Alton Park, even though it's not really liked, I don't think, by many people, but because it's so technical, it suits me. I really like technical tracks. And Silverstone just because, I don't know, I just like it. It's kind of a body position track, so it's really fun there. I do like Knockhill as well. It has a bit of a up and down. Yeah, those are probably my favourite tracks.
And racing in the Talent Cup racing the Talent Cup this year, what has been the thing you've learnt the most from that series and from the step up?
There's a lot more overtaking down the straight, definitely. Slipstream is a big factor to kind of where you're gonna finish at the end of the race, and yeah, that was the main thing with the overtakes. That is, you can be more aggressive, and it's kind of easier, I would say, because at karting tracks, there's just corner after corner, and it's mostly just chicanes. Especially at this track, there's only one main overtaking spot.
And is this a track that you like, although it only has one proper overtaking opportunity, and the rest you kind of have to force a move? Is it a track that you enjoy riding on and racing on?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's my favourite track, but it's a really good track. On the 70, it didn't really suit me, but on the KTM, there's a lot of, there's one heavy braking spot, and the rest is just chicanes. So yeah, I really like the heavy braking. Those are kind of my tracks. I think my favourite track would be Clay Pigeon or Ello Park.
Well, next up, we will have the Premier class of the Mini GP 70 British Championship, and these guys will be heading out. It's the last race 2s of the weekend, so now it is time to get underway for a very, very exciting race. But Shannon King, caused that red flag, is back to our motorhome, and then yeah, let's get underway now.
It's time for race 2 of the LS2 Helmets Mini GP 70 British Championship. And well, if there's one man with a point to prove in this one, Lewis, it is Ethan Sparks from the pole position. Obviously, he feels like he was robbed in the race tomorrow as someone gives us a wave. Who's that? Samuel Munson shooting us a wave. We've been in the commentary box trying to wave at the riders on the grid because we can see it perfectly. But yeah, Ethan Sparks, he'll go from pole position with Henry McCartney alongside him. Samuel Munson third, Luke Fitchett fourth. Ronnie Harris will be going off 5 after his accident yesterday. He is pulled out from the remainder of the weekend. Ruben Bray will go from 6th, Noah Guillory 7th, Ollie Sims 8th, and Harry Payne 9th. And that is Samuel Munson with a chain gone.
Off, yeah. So
that's not a good start.
No, it's not. Just mentioned them a couple of seconds ago, and the commentators
Yes.
Yeah, it struck once again, and he's trying to put the chain back on himself. So hopefully the chain's slack enough just to try and get it on. But
yeah, that's not. Yeah, the commentators waving curse. Sorry, Samuel, my bad. But as I was saying, yeah, one rider with a point of prove will be Ethan Sparks. Obviously, he feels like he had that race 1 victory robbed from him after the red flag was brought out with 2 riders left to cross the start-finish line, and because of that they had to count their lap back by 1, and they did that, and Henry McCartney was in front at the time, but Ethan Sparks won the race on the road, that is for certain. But Henry McCartney was officially classed the winner, and so, oh no, Samuel Munson absolutely devastated. His race 2 over before it has even begun. What a big shame for Samuel Munson there.
yeah, such a big shame. He's so frustrated, but now it is time, and it's time to get underway. We wait for Rob. Just check the track is clear, because obviously you do need to get the bike out of harm's way so we can go racing here. All the bikes are revving. They're warming up. They don't want to get too warm with these 2-stroke motors, these 2-stroke 70cc motors, but everything's clear now. Rob's just telling everyone to get off the track. Then we should be able to get underway. We wait for a point to the light to be made. Looks like Rob's just signifying maybe for a Marshall or Samuel just to get off the track.
Out of the way.
Yeah, and then we can get the way. So now it looks like everything's prepared. Riders are certainly looking ready, looking racy, and the point to the light is made. We wait for the lights to go on. The lights go on, and the lights go on. Sparks has made an awful start, but it's McCartney who leads the way going to turn 1 with Luke Fitchett just behind. Ruben Bray's made a cracking start into 3rd. Sparks already back up to 4th, ahead of Ollie Sims straight away, but Henry McCartney leads the way from Luke Fitchett. Luke Fitchett been looking so strong in the mini GP 50s, and now in the 70s. Can he get that race win? He was 3rd place yesterday. He was near that front 2 of Sparks and McCartney. Can he transform it into 1 better today, or even 2 better today? But now all eyes are on what can Ethan Sparks do to recover this race.
Well, he's already back up to 3rd, but it just didn't go off the line at all, and then he popped a wheelie when it did finally get moving. Already up to 3rd, but now in front of him he's got the defensive mastermind. It is Luke Flatcap Fitchett, and McCartney will be sitting there praying that Luke does what he does best and keeps Ethan Sparks behind him. Of course, McCartney, the winner of race 1 on the countback with the red flag. Sparks, he's going to be riding angry, surely. I mean, he's a very cool, calm, collected customer, but having that race 1 robbed from him as he felt he did, and then after that, he's going to have a bit of fury under the helmet, I'm sure. And Luke Fitchett, he wants him to be his next victim. But Fitchett, oh no, Fitchett runs wide and then opens the door maybe into Chandler's. No, Fitchett shuts it firmly in the 62's face. And while this is happening, Henry McCartney will be doing his absolute utmost to bolt off into the distance. We've seen, though, Lewis, coming down into the hairpin from the back straight. Ethan Sparks on the brakes, second to none.
Yeah, he certainly is, and there is an example of that. Ethan Sparks now on the brakes, runs slightly wide on the exit, but manages to get hooked up into the power band, and on he goes, 2nd place. It's so hard to get past Luke Fitchett, but this may just be one of these rides that shows how you win championships. It's using your head, not getting too concerned and not getting too flustered. Now Ethan Sparks is putting in the laps, being aggressive, but using his head at the same time, not doing anything stupid, not doing anything silly, only doing moves that he knows can be made 100%. So now Ethan Sparks chasing Henry McCartney and really having to put the power down with 11 laps to go in the 2nd race of the Mini GP 70s.
Oh, the reigning champion, the championship leader, back up into 2nd already, and look at how much he's gained on McCartney already. McCartney we're always going to have a big fight on his hands if he wants to take a second race win of the weekend. And it's important to know that as well that this is a huge opportunity for Sparks in terms of the championship, because obviously Ronnie Harris is now sitting out the remaining 2 races due to that crash yesterday, and Marco Holt is a no-show because he's off doing Moto 4 in Spain, so his 2 closest rivals are not here. He's got an opportunity to gain a huge lead in the championship with 2 rounds left to go, you know, and in this fight for him to become the first back-to-back LS2 Helmets Mini GP70 British champion, this is just, it's being served to him on a plate here. It's a golden opportunity. Henry McCartney hit the fastest lap last time out. I'm not so sure about though, because actually Ethan Sparks is in the 46s, and I want to say that may be a new lap record. It is a new lap record for Ethan Sparks. So 46.979 is a new lap record. The first time we were into the 46s on a 70. Wow, he is on it today.
Yeah, certainly is new lap record. There's confirmation of that as Ethan Sparks is trying to look for a move, trying to look down the inside of Henry McCartney. It's Henry McCartney on the high side. He's saved it. Henry McCartney is so lucky to still be in the race right now. Ethan Sparks takes pure advantage of that and is now in the lead by about half a second. So Ethan Sparks, he would have seen that happen. He probably doesn't even know if Henry McCartney's still on the bike, but he's going for it. He's going for this race win, and it looks like he's doing it in style so far. It's a real champions ride now. What can Henry McCartney do? The roles are reversed this time around. There's just 8 laps to go in this round, 7 laps now. So can Henry McCartney put in laps, catch up to Sparks? The real question is, what will Fitchett do if these 2 start to squabble?
These 2 seem to be a bit quicker than Fitchett this time round. Of course, Fitchett was all involved in race 1. What Henry McCartney needs to do... Oh, he's got through! Oh, my word! Look, Henry McCartney already back to the lead. Sparks with the cutback on the inside of Chandler's. Who's going to come out in front? It will be... Oh, we've got away! No, it's Henry McCartney around the outside of Chandler's. I do not believe what I'm watching. I was about to say what Henry McCartney needs to do is just move on. Don't think about the incident. He's clearly done that, and he's moved on into first.
Yeah, he certainly has, but Ethan Sparks going to try and move down at the hairpin, and now he makes it, and he makes it stick. Will he run wide as Henry McCartney tries to get a cut off the corner and get a late apex, but it does not work. Henry McCartney is in second place once again. He made it so much time. It's Ethan Sparks ran wide. McCartney's back through. McCartney's in the lead this race. There's just 6 laps to go. Ethan Sparks is putting down the hammer now. He's trying to find a way past it. There's 1 lap ago where McCartney managed to get past Sparks, and now Sparks starts to build up. He starts to build up that momentum to make a move. It doesn't look like he's going to make it work. We've seen last time he was quite close into the chicane, or will he leave it for the final corner as Ethan Sparks starts to make up that momentum for the back straight. Get pure power on. See how much room Henry McCartney leaves going onto the straight. No room, but now Ethan Sparks going down to the final corner on the brakes. Can he make it stick once again? Yes, he can, but Henry McCartney cuts off the corner, tries to get a better drive, but once again, Sparks gets the lead of the race out of the hairpin.
Oh, but he's run wide again. Henry McCartney. I tell you what it is. It's Henry McCartney with a superb. Sparks takes a really wide line on the entry to turn 2 so he can get a really good drive through turn 3. What McCartney's doing is just sticking it up the inside. So Sparks is just taking his regular line, and suddenly there's a Henry McCartney in the lead again. I feel like for a small moment, Sparks, that is sublime up the inside at Chandler's. The hardest corner on the track to overtake. It's fast, it's tight, it's bumpy, and he's gone back into the lead. But as I was saying, I thought for a moment that Sparks was actually pushing a bit too hard, which is when he ran wide. I thought he was just thinking about what had happened with McCartney and the court high side. But now he's put that behind him. Now he's in a tough fight for the lead. Let's see if he learns this time through to one. No, he doesn't. McCartney still goes back. Ethan, run tighter in 2, man. Come on.
Yeah, Ethan Sparks is properly on it now. Ethan Sparks is in the lead of the race right now.
What's happening?
Yeah, Ethan Sparks just put the bike straight in front of his front wheel, and I think McCartney had to back out of it completely, back out of the throttle. So now McCartney's having to push, he's having to make up so much time to catch back up the Sparks, because it's just 4 laps to go. We're over halfway this lap, so there's going to be 3 laps next time at the line. So Ethan Sparks right now is pushing Henry McCartney to his absolute limit. The question is, How much more do these guys have left in the tank? Is there anything? It's so hot. Ethan Sparks so good on these brakes, but now Henry McCartney once again taking a wider line, trying to carry that momentum as now we come for the first sector where Henry McCartney is so strong and surely will make up some time. It looks like he has. They power out through. Henry McCartney has got far more momentum but has to back out of a move. It's so difficult to pass here at Llandow, but they're making it work.
Ethan Sparks, he's a little lad, obviously, but like, I just don't think he can quite get the bike quick enough over to the left for the second turn in the hook. So he's running wide on the entry just because he can't quite physically haul the bike over. And McCartney's getting all of his time in one corner. But, you know, this is a fierce battle, isn't it? Both of these guys at the absolute top of their game, both of them leaving nothing on the table. And Sparks is so dominant through this final section, but look how close McCartney is now with 2 laps left to go. Watch this coming through turn 1. And Sparks, yeah, I think I'm right, he just can't quite get it slotted over to the left enough. And he runs wide just in the first part of the corner. And McCartney can carry more speed while keeping it tight, and he's just gaining so much time through that left. It could be either one of these two winning this race.
Yeah, he certainly could. 2 laps to go in this race. Henry McCartney and Ethan Sparks is still jumping out.
Oh,
no, Gilray is down. Coming out the final corner, it looks like, and he's managed to get the bike going again, restarting this race. Currently in 7th position, but Ethan Sparks leads the way. Still, they head down the back straight. Second last time they'll be doing this. Henry McCartney is all the road coming out onto the back straight. So impressive. But Ethan Sparks heads on to go and meet the last lap flag. Next time it will be the checker flag, but what position? Let's find out. Ethan Sparks is still riding for his heart, riding his heart out. He made such a bad start, managed to make up so many positions. Now Henry McCartney is having to push through his absolute limit to make up the time, and it looks like he has. Henry McCartney has closed up that gap on the last lap of this race. Ethan Sparks has to push, cannot give up at all. This last sector though is Ethan Sparks' land. It looks like Henry McCartney made a slight mistake there coming out of the corner, but Ethan Sparks, he's certainly not got any gap. They head onto the back straight now. Ethan Sparks, he's been so good in the brakes, but Henry McCartney has the slipstream. What is going to happen?
Oh, he's going!
Move, and he's done what Ethan Sparks done, he's ran wide, and Ethan Sparks, championship level ride, wins the race and takes the checker flag after a superb battle with Henry McCartney. That is exactly what we love to see in the Mini GP 70, in the LS2 Helmets Mini GP 70 British Championship. It was so impressive from such young riders, and Luke Fitchett gets that final podium position, and great race, and definitely looking forward to race 3 later on.
He was robbed in race 1. He was tried to get robbed at the start when it just didn't move, but Ethan Sparks was determined and he said no. Wow, what a ride from the champion. What a ride from the championship leader as he extends that lead even further with the absence of Ronnie Harris, with the absence of Mark Hart. I looked down out of the window and I could see all of the pit bike guys coming out next, just watching the race in awe. That was a titanic battle between McCartney and Sparks. They can both go home happy with that one. Oh, but race 3, oh, it's going to be good, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is, and Ethan Sparks, he's so happy. He almost looks like he's very tired after that one, but Ethan Sparks happy. Won championship last year, obviously crowned at this circuit at Llandow. It's the final round of the championship, and Ethan Sparks, number 62, on the Vision Track bike, just so happy. You can see he's almost in disbelief about that battle, but Ethan Sparks takes the race win by 0.5 of a second after McCartney running wide at the final corner. Luke Fitchett gets that final podium position. Ruben Bray comes home in 4th, Ollie Sims 5th, Harry Payne 6th, and Noah Gilray 7th. And of course, there was a DNF that race, well, a DNS, I guess you could really say. Samuel Munson, DNS, and due to his chain coming off, but he will be out in our next race.
Pit Bike 140's final race of the weekend, and all eyes will be on Taylor Lawrence in this one. The reigning champion in his final appearance at FAB-Racing as a regular rider after he goes off to join the RAF. And, well, it hasn't quite been Taylor's day's weekend even so far. He's gone down 3 times in 2 races, all the while running in 2nd. Hopefully, himself and championship leader and great friend Rossi Banham can go out and give us one last display for the ages. So many times did they have strong battles last year, so many times this time did they have strong battles, and oh boy, Rossi going off pole, Taylor going off third for the final time, and all eyes will be on the man in green, the reigning champion in the pit bike 140s. An end of an era, so to speak. It's Rossi Banham who goes from the pole position with Lucas Brown going off of alongside him. Taylor Lawrence will start third in his final FAB-Racing race. Reese Peacock goes from P4 with Samuel Munson and Liam Wood close behind. Nathan Riggy and Jamie King, they form up the fourth row with Chris Wells and Cameron Sewell rounding out the top 10. Zach Torian is 11th with Sean Whittaker 12th. Elliot Crosby is 13th with Champley Whiting in P14. They're followed by Simon Gates and Thomas Dudson in 16th. Then Johnny Brook, Powell Nozel, Keaton Payne, P19. Lewis, we've had a couple of absolutely spectacular pit bike races here. They always deliver anywhere. They always deliver, especially at Llandow. And, well, let's hope it's a special one to send off Taylor.
Yes, certainly. I mean, Taylor, he had 2 crashes actually in race 2, so very, very disappointing for him. But I'm sure he'll be coming back. He'll be wanting one final hurrah, one final show to put on for us. Rossi Banham, though, he's been looking so good all weekend. The only person qualified in the 49s, and in race 1 broke the lap record countless of times. And now the riders just heading round to the grid to start the race, the final race of the weekend for these guys, race 3. Of course, the likes of Rossi Banham will be back out in the Extreme 200s later on. But final checks are being done on the grid. Now we look towards the lights, and now the lights go on. The lights go off, and Rossi Banham, it's a great start, but so is Taylor Lawrence. Taylor Lawrence straight away is up into
Lucas Brown.
third place. Lucas Brown managing to slot into that second position, and looks like Reese Peacock in fourth at the moment, but Rossi Banham in the race lead. It's exactly where we expect him. Oh! A contact further back in the pack at the moment, and looks like, yeah, riders straight up on their feet. But right now, Lucas Brown taking the race lead from Rossi Banham. First time we've seen this happen, and now Taylor Lawrence will be thinking all his Christmases are coming at once because Rossi Banham is not being let loose out front.
Absolutely, I believe it was Chadley Whiting we just saw go down, but they were straight up on their feet, which is great to see. Lucas Brown leads the race early on. Rossi Banham's got to fight for it, but Rossi's so good on the brakes into the final hairpin, but Lucas Brown stays in front. Rossi holding station, Taylor Lawrence running in that third place for the time being. So it's Brown from Banham from Lawrence. Your top 3, Reese Peacock and Samuel Munson close behind as well. Of course, Samuel going out very quickly from that 70s race just a moment ago with a broken chain before we even got underway, which is a real shame, but he's fighting for the top 5 here in the pit bike 140s now. Rossi Banham, without a doubt, the fastest rider this weekend. When does he go? Does he go now? Oh, yes, he does into Chandler's. Rossi Banham, just unreal talent. And now Taylor Lawrence needs to get through Lucas Brown pretty quickly, or Lucas Brown needs to keep on the back of Rossi Banham, because we're at threat here of Rossi once again just shooting off into the distance.
Yes, the trio out front, 11 laps to go. Rossi Banham runs wide actually, and Lucas Brown looks like he's gained quite a lot of distance there. And Lucas Brown, though, he also thinks about defending from Taylor Lawrence. This is what Pit Bike 140 racing is all about. Taylor Lawrence, he's going to want a good result. He's going to want to say that potentially he might have won his final Fab race and just stay on the bike and enjoy this. Rossi Banham, though, in the race. Lucas Brown is trying to find another way past. Oh. Can they do it? They're on the curb. This is Pit Bike 140 racing. It's using all the track and some, even though sometimes it may not be the fastest option or the safest option, these guys still do it. These guys still go wheel to wheel, and Rossi Banham slightly edging out the gap now. So the real question is, what does Lucas Brown and Taylor Lawrence have in their back pocket as we head down the straight? Will they be close enough to make a move? It doesn't look like it this time around. 10 laps to go though, so plenty of time for drama to unfold.
Yeah, they're not close enough to move, as Rossi once again struggling out of that final hairpin, but the main point is that they're together in this battle, so they're still sticking with each other as Lucas Brown tries to get back into the lead. This is the best run Lucas Brown has had all weekend. Struggled in race 1, struggled in race 2, but now he's in the fight and in the hunt on the tail of Rossi Banham, who doesn't seem to be quite gelling with the track and with the bike as much as he has in the first 2 races. Lap times are still coming in at 49.3 his fastest lap last time out, but that's the same time as Lucas Brown and roughly the same time as Taylor Lawrence. So those three running very, very similar lap times and sticking very, very close together. They've pulled away from Samuel Munson and Reece Peacock, you can just see there in the background. It's still Banham from Brown from Lawrence. No moves made yet. 8 laps to go at the line, so plenty of opportunity. But Banham, I'm not sure what's going on with Banham. I'd expect him to shoot off into the distance, but he seems to be just not quite on the same pace as he was in race 1 and race 2. The track has warmed up quite significantly since then. So maybe just the conditions, maybe the bike's just not quite the same as it was, or maybe Brown and Lawrence have just finally, something's clicked, because they're all over the back of him. As there we see, Munson's got through Reece Peacock, but Reece Peacock on the 29 trying to fight to the inside. On the run into Chandler's. Can Reece Peacock make it work? No. Samuel Munson closes the door, but he holds on to that P4 for the time being. But Reece Peacock, we know he's got some pace this weekend. He'll be looking to fight and get back in front.
Yeah, so will be Rossi Banham now completely tucked in. Will he get this final corner right this time round? Backs it in like usual and gets it pretty well actually that time round at the final corner. But Lucas Brown still gaining a tiny bit of time. 7 laps to go in this race. All these guys up front at the moment, the top 3, are all under the pole position that we got this weekend. But there's Samuel Munson having the battle further back with Reece Peacock for that 4th position. Obviously, Samuel Munson, busy weekend, 2 races in a row. It's almost the last thing you want. But luckily, well, luckily but unluckily, he didn't start the last race, so quite a lot of time to get ready for his Pit Bike 140 race, and he will be racing with pure aggression after having such a disappointing run in the 70s.
Yeah, didn't even make it, didn't even make it to the formation lap before his chain had come off after a strong qualifying as well, which is a big shame for Samuel Munson, but he's putting on a good show here. But this battle with Reece Peacock far from over as Peacock looks to the inside into the final corner, gets on the brakes and gets through further back as well, fighting with Wood, King and Wells as they all head through. And actually, Jamie King managing to get past Liam Wood. So Jamie King back up into 6th place on his new bike this weekend after parting ways with Moto. So looking for a change in fortune, and moving forward is the only way that that fortune is going to change. So great stuff from Jamie King in his old racing suit as well. So any classic Fab fans maybe having a bit of a throwback to a few years ago with Mr. Pit Bike Sonic, the 76, the 3-time Pit Bike 140 champion. And who is that moving through there? That's Nathan Riggy, I believe, going through. Oh no, it's Chris Wells, apologies, going through on Liam Wood. So there we go, Chris Wells makes his way through. Quite a charming photo that, but let me assure you, out on track, he'll leave you for nothing. And, well, it is looking very, very tight up there. And, well, up the front, Lucas Brown appears to have got through Rossi Banham as we change back here in this fight with 5 laps left to go. Wells moves through on Jamie King. So changes at the front, and there you go, Rossi Banham is back through, but they're really, really close now.
Yeah, so almost all on the curb there, but Rossi Banham in the race with him really having just to use his head now. 5 laps to go, he cannot stop because these guys behind him, Lucas Brown and Taylor Lawrence, are so fast, and Taylor Lawrence
back markers
hasn't even shown his hand yet. But yeah, back markers are now starting to come into play. Luckily, they're going to get past one of them before the hairpin. Real question is, can they get through them before they get to the apex scoring? Yes. Right, yes they will, it's on straight, but where will they get to him? Will it be mid-corner, because that is the worst place to get him. Rossi Banham almost makes contact, actually, with the back marker there, and Lucas Brown will be watching
again.
this.
There goes Lucas Brown!
Taking advantage, they're both sides, they're sandwiching them with the back marker, and now it's Lucas Brown who takes the race lead from Rossi Banham and Taylor Lawrence. Taylor Lawrence just sitting there, watching, learning. 4 laps to go. He's just waiting for his moment to pounce. I can almost guarantee it. Rossi Banham 2nd place right now. They're taking a slightly different line there, slightly wider. He's riding a bit more free now, a bit less pressure, and he's just full attack mode. They come round towards the back straight now, towards the hairpin. We've seen how great Rossi Banham is on the brakes. He backs in every single time, but it looks like Lucas Brown has a bit more corner speed. Rossi Banham dives down the inside, back brake on full lock as Lucas Brown gets forced to go wide. Now it's Taylor Lawrence through.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, they may seem like the fiercest of rivals on track. Oh my word, Lucas Brown fully committed cutting across Taylor Lawrence. They may seem like the fiercest rivals on track, but I can guarantee you they will all have huge smiles on under their helmets, the firmest of friends off of it. And Rossi Banham, the junior super stock rider, the vice champion of 2021, the championship leader of 2022, leads Lucas Brown, who leads Taylor Lawrence with 2.5 laps to go, and they are neck and neck. It is anybody's race here at the South Wales Karting Centre, the Llandow Kart Circuit. And we've seen time and time again this season, backmarkers coming into play. We saw it at the very first race of the Pit Bike 140s, and backmarkers cause havoc. No blue flags in FAB-Racing. You've just got to negotiate them on your own, and it can completely flip a race on its head. 2 laps to go.
Yep, Chad Little White in there just getting out of the way for these guys, using his head, looking behind them, noticing that they are there. But Taylor Lawrence now has got a slight gap back to Lucas Brown. So Lucas Brown has just edged that forward, and Rossi Banham in that race lead. And he's looked so good at the final corner, using all his back brake almost. Looks like it's full lock going into there, back in the end, which really means that mid's corner speed is not there, because he's really just aiming to get that bike turn, which means coming out of this final corner, he's taking a much tighter exit compared to Lucas Brown. So Lucas Brown will be able to take a bit more mid-corner speed as he's just letting off that front brake and just carrying it through, while Rossi Banham, much like a 600 style, uses the back brake and just backs it in like so right there. But now they come round to make it last lap time. The last lap flag is out. Will Rossi Banham be able to do some? 1 lap left, and 1 lap left in Taylor Lawrence's full-time FAB-Racing career. Taylor Lawrence would have enjoyed this, and now Jamie King bats it of Chris Wells. Chris Wells manages to get better off Jamie King. It's a 4-bike scrap right now for 6th position, but there's your race leader, and there's Lucas Brown on his tail. Rossi Banham, he's trying to say, come on bike, hurry, but Lucas Brown diving down the inside of the last lap.
Oh, yes!
And perfect position from him. What will Rossi Banham do? It's going to come down to the last corner. It's going to be a lunge for the last lap of the last corner of the last race of the weekend for these guys. Rossi Banham pulls out slipstream alongside on the brakes, backs it in. Can he get a turn? Lucas Brown down the inside, tries to get a better drive, and that's a drag race to the line. And then Rossi Banham takes the race win by 37 thousandths of a second. Lucas Brown in second, and Taylor Lawrence finishes his final race in 3rd.
Wow, 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 what a race! What a race! Rossi Banham by an inch takes it from Lucas Brown, with Taylor Lawrence in his farewell race onto the podium after a weekend of dire results, falling 3 times in 2 races. Lucas Brown, what a performance from him, but it will be Rossi Banham at the absolute death. That is just what a pit bike race is. That is the perfect way to sum up the Pit Bike 140 category. 3 fantastic riders, you know, all mainstays here at FAB-Racing, putting on a great display of racing. And of course, what a great display as well for the man in green, the reigning champion, Taylor Lawrence, as we bid farewell. Thank you, Taylor, for all of your exploits, as it will be Rossi Banham taking the victory at the death by 37 thousandths of a second from Lucas Brown, with Taylor Lawrence finishing in P3, finally onto the podium. Samuel Munson brings it home in 4th, with Reese Peacock in 5th. Chris Wells was 6th, Jamie King 7th, Liam Wood 8th, Nathan Riggy 9th, and Cameron Sewell winding up in 10th place. That was just unreal racing.
Yeah, phenomenal race there, and the final race of the weekend for the Pit Bike 140 guys. Although the likes of Rossi Banham will be out in the Extreme 200 class later on, but superb race, exactly what we're expecting from the Pit Bike 140 guys. And now we're just waiting to get underway for our next race, which will of course be a race free as well.
The final appearance of the weekend then for the AC40 Pros. We've had some brilliant racing so far in this class. And as we wait for the riders to make their way out onto the grid for the final time, the sun beaming down here in South Wales. And, well, I think a few people certainly starting to feel a bit of a sweat on, as out come the riders from the dummy grid. And it's been some very hotly contested racing in the heat here at the Llandow Kart Circuit. We thought the rain was going to come driving down, but no. The sun is here to stay. whether you like it or not. It's been too much fun, frankly, for me in the last few weeks, but we're stuck with it anyway. But that's not a problem, because it means that these mini-motos can race at their full capacity, their full capability in some very nice weather. And these mini-motos, they do like Llandow. No, it's a rider's favourite. The mini-motos always run well round here. And as we get underway on our formation lap, it should be Byron Johnson on the pole, but he is not here.
Byron is out on track, but he was sitting in the 12th position grid slot there.
So Byron Johnson fancies himself going from last. All right. So Sam Gardner will go from second. Matthew Thomas third, Harrison Day from fourth. Oliver Hall is fifth. Lewis Hull is sixth. Fourth row is Jensen Bishop and Dylan Torian. Callum Maxwell is ninth. George Ackerman 10th. Chloe Saul is 11th. But Byron Johnson has the fastest time, but on the dummy grid was not sat on pole position. He was sat in the 12th grid spot. So, who knows? We'll find out what's going on when we get racing. Byron Johnson, of course, has been the dominant force this season in the AC40 Pros. Came in to this weekend with a 110-point championship lead. And apparently, we've been told in our ear that he didn't want to be bored on his own out the front. So he started from the back. Last to first challenge. Byron Johnson will have to wait and see. So last to first challenge then for Byron Johnson. We've seen some of those in the other classes. Will Howarth in the Moto team comes to mind at Ella Park. Well, Byron Johnson, the stage is yours. Let's see what he's got in his locker as we wait for the lights. Alone on the front row of the grid, Sam Gardner. That must be a very strange feeling. Let's see what this race is going to store. Final race of the weekend for the AC40 Pros is go! It's a good start from Sam Gardner. Matthew Thomas gets away well as well. Byron Johnson shooting away. He's already done half the field coming through the hook at turn one. But it is Sam Gardner that leads from Matthew Thomas.
Lewis Hull down.
Yeah, Lewis Hull goes down at turn one. It's not been the best weekend for him, unfortunately, but he's back on the bike and gets going once again. Yeah,
he certainly does, and already he's ahead of Oliver Hall, so in about 4th position right now it looks. Byron Johnson is absolutely on it. When he was asked if he was sure that he wanted to start in the last position, he said, sure, it's for a bit of fun, I don't want to be bored out front by himself. So Byron Johnson in that 4th position right now, in front of Harrison, well, trying to get in front of Harrison Day, but the front two at the front is Sam Gardner and Matthew Thomas. How long will it take for Byron to be up there as Byron overtakes Harrison Day at the last corner in the first lap? These guys will not be able to believe what they're seeing after not even one lap. Byron Johnson is in the podium positions.
Yeah, but now he's got Sam Gardner and Matthew Thomas to deal with. Yeah, two guys who have been the only real challengers to him all weekend long. And that being said, they are looking to have a bit of a fight themselves. If they do that well, Byron Johnson will be going, hello, and look at that already on the back. This is just unbelievable. I mean, last to first. Why not Byron? To the outside at Chandler's. Can he make it stick? No. Has to duck back in behind Matthew Thomas. But look at those three. It's the second lap. And Byron, whoa. That is super brave. That is not an overtaking move into the Dell, but he's gone for it anyway, and he's already up the inside of Matthew Thomas, coming into the braking zone. P2, easy as you like. And he's looking to get P1 as well. Matthew Thomas tries the switchback manoeuvre, but loses out on the drive. It's Byron Johnson from 12th to 2nd in 2 laps. 7 laps left remaining. He's got one rider separating himself from yet another clean sweep weekend. And to make it a hat-trick of victories. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, already in the race, leads 7/10 faster in qualifying than Sam Gardner in 2nd place, so he just loves Llandow, and he loves this place. He's feeling so confident on this AC40 Pro bike. It's so great to see a young rider with, well, a bit of fun, to be honest. That's all he wanted in this race, and that's exactly what he's getting in the sunshine here at South Wales. Now they come through the final sector of the track. Matthew Thomas and Sam Gardner will not be wanting him to run away with it once again. But there, further down the field, is Chloe So going about in 11th position right now, putting in laps, getting more experience on the bike. That's really what it's still about at this stage in their career. But coming across the line to make it 6 laps to go, it is Byron Johnson, who's by 0.5 of a second over Sam Gardner. Sam Gardner, can he maintain this gap last lap? Byron Johnson was about 9/10 faster than these two behind, but Matthew Thomas looks like he's faster than Sam Gardner, trying to find any way through on that lime green mini moto as he tries to find a tiny little gap in the road just to slot his front wheel in and try and just make a move on the 128.
This is just insane, isn't it? I mean, Byron Johnson has been quite clearly the fastest, to put it mildly, this weekend, and all season, of course, he's been the dominant rider after a learning year in the category last year. And, well, he's gone from last to first, about 4 laps. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. Just unreal stuff. But the battle for second still rages on behind. Sam Gardner and Matthew Thomas, nothing to separate them as they come to the line and make it 5 laps left to go. Sam Gardner currently holding on to P2 just about with Matthew Thomas. He's pushing him hard and pushing him fairly, to be fair. It's been pretty clean between these two. No rubbering or anything as Matthew Thomas looks to the inside, coming to the left-hander, but no, has to back out of it. Maybe a look into Mac Werters, maybe. No, good defensive riding from Sam Gardner, just putting the bike in the right places, making it impossible for Matthew Thomas to move on through. So, as this battle for second rages on with 5 laps left to go to sort out the final spoils for the weekend, of course, the final race here for the AC40 Pros. And as they come down the back stretch, this is, of course, the best overtaking opportunity, Lewis, coming into the final corner. Matthew Thomas still, though, can't make the gap appear.
Yeah, it is, and it's one of these corners that you have to at least have a front wheel and have somewhat of a bike length alongside just to try and overtake them and just to actually make the move stick into the final corner, because it tightens up so much. And at the final corner, mid-corner, 2 lines can cross into one. It's so tricky not to make contact, but Sam Gardner has managed to keep defending and showing his pure class at such a young age against Matthew Thomas. Both of these guys, all this grid actually is still so young and so early in their racing careers that doing things like Byron's doing right now, it's so impressive to see. It's a 1.2 second lead already, and his last lap was around 2/10 faster than Sam Gardner, so now he's just using his head and maintaining it.
Yeah, it's, well, clever riding, smart riding, sensible riding from the pair of them, to be fair. They're looking very, very similar on pace. If anything, Matthew Thomas seems to have a slight advantage, but you know, it's one thing to ride at the same pace, it's another thing to overtake, and it's another thing to run wide for Sam Gardner. But he just about gets the drive out of the corner. But that could have been the move for second place for Matthew Thomas, but it wasn't meant to be this time. But he's still pushing, still trying to make that gap appear, still desperately holding on, but he's still looking fast as well. But it is, as we look further back in the field as well, some more battles between some of the riders as they go on through. I believe that's George Ackerman and Chloe Saul fighting there. And as we come up to the front runners, there is, and that is Matthew Thomas through. Matthew Thomas goes to the inside of the traffic and gets through. Super smart move.
Yeah, Matthew Thomas using the back marker to his advantage and getting that position and getting into that vital second position. With Sam Gardner is diving down the inside at the final corner. Can he make it stick? Matthew Thomas is going to try and get a late apex and get the bike turned, and he has. Another side-by-side down the straight. Who's going to be the bravest? It's going to be Sam Gardner on the brakes, but Matthew Thomas a much wider sweeping line, just carrying that momentum, carrying that corner speed. 2 laps to go in this race, and it's Matthew Thomas now on the absolute tail, on the brink of getting the second place. All he needs to do is defeat Sam Gardner, but it's easier said than done in this class. It's not over till the checker flag is out. These guys are racing each other so hard but so fair, and it's so great to see from such a young age as these guys are just trying to get tucked in as much as possible before we head towards the chicane. He made the move last time round using the back marker to his advantage. Slightly different line actually to Sam Gardner. Maybe that is where he's managing to get his momentum, as now they head down, they power it down as the race leader powers it to the final corner to go on to the last lap of this race. The last lap flag is out there, held by Lee Klaus, and now Byron Johnson looking so strong. He's looking so dominant. He deserves this race win. It's a real masterclass from him, as Oliver Hall is having a battle with Jensen Bishop further down in the field for that 5th position, heading on to the final lap. It's not over anywhere in this field just yet. His battle's all the way down the field. Byron Johnson, though, already halfway through his lap, committed to this lap and committed to this race. Came from back of the grid at the first corner. He almost made up 6 positions by the end of turn 1. He's almost too good, and now he's going to love this result. He's going to be delighted. He's going to showboat this result. I can almost guarantee. Why wouldn't you? Byron Johnson, final straight. One more corner to go. Sam Gardner still defending in the back, but all eyes are on Byron Johnson. Race win for him in the final race of the weekend from the back of the grid. And now it was like Sam Gardner has managed to keep on to that second position from Matthew Thomas, but Byron Johnson winning from back of the grid with Sam Gardner and Matthew Thomas joining them on the podium.
Well, 2's a company, 3's a crowd, and what a way to take the clean sweep than other from Elasta. First challenge from Byron Johnson, just untouchable this weekend. Gives a wave to the fans, and in my opinion, he has all right to do so. No one has even come close to that young man out there in the AC40 Pros, as Byron Johnson takes an absolutely dominant win from the back of the grid with 4 seconds to the good from Sam Gardner in second, who just pips Matthew Thomas in third. Harrison Day managed to hold on to fourth, with Oliver Hall working his way into 5th place, and it's Jensen Bishop in 6th. Lewis Hull managed to get back up to 7th after that early fall, with Dylan Torrey in 8th, George Ackerman 9th, and Callum Maxwell rounding out the top 10. That is it for your AC40 Pros action. Of course, only 3 races in a weekend, unfortunately, and all 3 are done for these guys. But do not be afraid. We'll be back soon, of course, in a few weeks' time. Weekend of 17th, 18th September, heading up north, heading to Rara. Lewis is very excited because he only has to make like a 3-hour journey for it instead of several days. But yeah, going to Rara, and of course these guys will all be there. But unfortunately, that is it for the AC40 Pros. It brings an end to their weekend, but wow, what a weekend of racing it's been for them.
Yeah, it certainly has. Great weekend of racing and great close racing and great performance from Byron Johnson. And there is a plane from the local airfield. As you mentioned, Ross, it was an RAF base, and now there's still an airport close by. There's still planes flying in there on this wonderful sunny day.
Yeah, we one of our cameramen set a challenge as well to find a plane. So there we go. Planes everywhere, bikes everywhere. Fantastic racing.
And next up, we will have the final race of the weekend for the Extreme 200 class. It's race 3. It's a Sunday afternoon race. These guys, it was a great race, 1 and 2 from them. Evan Belford and Philip Starowiak going tooth to nail, really. And Sylvan Mountseat making a slight mistake in race 2, having a crash, having to go back to the pit lane to get the bike restarted and losing about 3 laps and then rejoin just to check everything was okay. So this race, we're going into the unknown, really. And now it's going to see what is going to happen in this 8-bike field.
Absolutely. I mean, Sullivan Mounsey in the Extreme 200s class. I mean, this isn't a comment about his riding. It's just a comment about him in this class. He's become a bit of a win it or bin it kind of rider. He's either at the front or on the floor. But he's fantastic on that Moto 4 machine. And, you know, he's a really nice lad as well. And great fun to watch out on track. But he's got some stiff competition. Of course, we've seen a fierce 4-way battle for the win. We've seen a fierce 2-way battle for the win in races 1 and 2, respectively. So, plenty of opportunity for even more exciting, in this race 3. Going off pole, it's Evan Belford, who we had in for some commentary earlier. Going off of second is Philip Starowiak, who we had in for some commentary earlier. Third is Rossi Ballum, who we haven't had in for commentary, unfortunately, but I reckon it might be a good idea someday. And fourth is Sullivan Mounsey, who we had him for commentary at Walton Mill. Noah Guillory goes from 5th with Zach Turian in 6th. Jack Andrews goes off 7th. Jamie King, again, did qualify 8th, but he didn't show up in race 2. Not seeing him out there for race 3 either, so it'll be a 7-bike race. But again, races 1 and 2 are absolutely superb. What's stopping this one from being it?
There's nothing stopping it. It's going to be great. It's perfect conditions. Philip Starowiak is looking strong, Evan Belford is looking strong, and Sullivan Mounsey is looking strong. Up till Sullivan Mounsey's crash, he's managing just to keep up to the first 2 guys, which is something that was slightly off the pace in race 1. But now it's looking like it's time, and it's time for the final showdown of the Extreme 200 classes. The paramedics gets everyone slowed down, because this is FAB-Racing, this is the Road to MotoGP, and this is the Extreme 200 Race 3.
Well, they're bringing it into the grid. You know, seemingly everybody here from the British Talent Cup coming back with British Talent Cup possibilities in the future. Let's see what happens, shall we? Race 3 of the Extreme 200. It is red lights on. Lights out, we're underway. It's a great start from Evan Belford. Sullivan Mounty gets away strong as well. Philip Sorowiak doesn't sweep into the lead this time, so Evan Belford, for the first time this weekend, leads through turn 1 from the pole position, but a great start from Sullivan Mounty, sliding in front of Rossi Banham into P3. Philip Sorowiak, though, still challenging Belford. Now Sullivan Mounty trying to challenge Sorowiak as they head through Mac Werters, and Rossi Banham still there lurking in the background. This British Talent Cup trio of spectacular riders all out there. They're at the Moto GP a few weeks ago, of course, on the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, giving it large. Now they're back here at Llandow at FAB-Racing and putting on a display for us all. Evan Belford leads.
Evan Belford leads the way, you're right, and now he's in the doctor's dangle into the final corner. Philip Sorowiak closely following, and now Sullivan Mounty in that third position, not too far back of these top 2 riders. So now he's in biting distance. He's able to be there if any of them make any mistakes or start just to fight or start to squabble and start to lose time with each other. Lower down the field, we do have Noah Gilroy making up some positions on Zach Tureen at the moment. Noah Gilroy using his mini GP metric at 70 bike, as Sullivan Mounty looking like he's actually gaining some time on Philip Sorowiak, or is that just Evan Belford edging out the gap and edging out a lead? Because at the line last time round, it's 0.5 of a second with the fastest lap as Rossi Banham in that 4th position. He's just done a superb performance in the pit by 140s. What can he do now as Philip Sorowiak shows Sullivan Mounty, which Sullivan Mounty gets a little bit of chatter going into the final corners. Now Evan Belford has a 1 second lead, half a second a lap right now from this guy.
Well, Belford was the fastest rider in race 2, but of course just stuck behind Philip Sorowiak. Sorowiak doing an immense defensive job until the final corner, when Belford finally slipped on through and took the win at the death. So it doesn't surprise me now that Belford got the lead from the start after 2 races of Sorowiak slipping through, and he started to open that gap. Sullivan Mounty, though, he's piling on the pressure on Philip Sorowiak. Of course, these 2 completely different styles of bike. You've got the pit bike style machine of Philip Sorowiak. He finished 3rd place in the LS2 Helmets Mini GP70 British Championship in 2021, now off doing the British Talent Cup. And Sullivan Mounty also off in the British Talent Cup on that Moto 4 machine, which has been through the wars a little bit the last few rounds, but he's out there giving it large now, running in the podium places. And the question is can he close that gap to Sorowiak? We'll have to wait and see as they head into the left-hander. It's just, it's so great to see in Extreme 100. It's such a diverse field of bikes. We've got Moto 4s, we've got pit bikes, we've got Noah Gilroy just out on his mini GP70, because why not? It's basically a come along and enter what you want class.
Yeah, it really is. As long as it's within the engine regulations, you can enter whatever you want into this class, and yeah, it produces this great racing. We have 2 KTM 85cc's at the front of their Moto 4 bike, and then one of the classic pit bike style motorcycles of Rossi Banham, and then we go into mini GP70s. So there's so many types of motorcycles in this race, so much talent inside this race. We see it last round at Wilton as well. The amount of, for example, junior GP riders, British Talent Cup riders, British Superbike level riders, there's so many of them, all coming back here for FAB for a good time, and a good time with their mates in the sunshine here at Llandow.
I mean, I said it last race. Casey O'Gorman towed up for 2 rounds line. Of course, he was off casually winning the British Talent Cup by Country Mile last year. He's now off doing Junior GP, Red Bull Rookies Cup. He turned up for the last 2 rounds last year and missed out on the overall championship by 8 points. That's what happens in Extreme 200. You know, you get riders just coming and going, and it's just chaos in the championship. Oh, who knows what's going to happen? And the only reason he missed out on that championship is because he had an oil leak at the start of race 2 and he had to go out. But oh, it's just so much fun to watch, and it's one of those ones where the championship there's so much going on, as we see down in 5th place Noah Gilroy and Zach Torian putting on a fight. Of course, Noah out there on his mini GP70. We'll be seeing him later in race 3 of that class as well. A bit of an up and down day overall, has Noah Gilroy. He's had some good races, had some bad, but I'm sure he's looking as the afternoon gets on to put in a strong performance here. Currently holding on to that 5th place from Torian and doing a very respectable job. Of course, Zach Torian, a pretty pacey rider, it must be said. Jack Andrew, I think it's important to note, down the back, he's been struggling with his bike. It definitely didn't sound healthy at the start of race 2. I don't think it's being too healthy right now. As we go back to the battle up the front, Sorowiak still holding on from Mounty with 6 to go.
Yeah, certainly, and Jack Andrews having some slight issues with his bike this weekend. It looks like in race 2 earlier on that it was just having some issues with the gear selector, not being able to actually click it into gear. Sometimes that can be as simple as maybe just the gear selector hitting the frame and not being able to actually get to the position that makes it click into the next gear. So Jack Andrews not at his proper form this weekend. Hopefully we'll see him back at the next round at Rowrot as Zach Tureen goes down the inside of Noah Gilray and makes that move stick on the number 89. Beautiful move, and now what does Noah Gilray have left? And what can he do? Will he just sit there for a lap or two, or will he go straight onto the attack? And it's straight onto the attack, it actually looks like, but he cannot fight any way past there because it's so difficult to make a move. As Noah Gilray now on that Metrokit bike, he now just needs to get all wound up in the power band. Same with Zach Tureen. Both of these bikes are 2-strokes, need to get in the power band down the straight. Noah Gilray far more slipstream. But, of course, if you don't know, if you're first time watching racing, you don't know what a power band is. Basically, a power band on these 2-stroke motors, it's the point in the revs that you get all the power, basically, because in the 2-stroke motor, all the power is actually at the top of the rev range. Underneath that, there's very little power, and it's almost like idling, basically. That's what it feels like whenever you're on a racetrack and not in it. But this battle is still going on for 5th place. There's battles everywhere in the field. There's this battle for 5th, and there's the battle going on right now for 2nd place. It looks like Sullivan Mountsie is starting to close in. But Zach Tureen still shows Noah Gilray the way.
Noah Gilray's doing a good job. If you cast your minds back to race 2 earlier on, of course, Rossi Banham overtook him and then, gestured, follow me, let me show you around. Of course, Rossi definitely knows how to pedal around this place, setting lap records left, right and centre in the pit bike 140. He's currently running P4 as well. And he was just showing Noah Gilray around for a few laps, going, this is where I'm hitting my marks, this is where I'm turning in, and just giving Noah Gilray a few tips. You can definitely tell he's taking that on board. His lines, he's taking different lines, he's hitting the brakes in different places. And that is great to see, all this action happening. And it's great to see as we cut back to the front. Sullivan Mountsie on the attack, on the brakes, up the inside of Filip Sorowiak. Sullivan Mountsie, runs wide. But he was there for a second, always trying to cut back across. Sullivan Mountsie is on the attack on Filip Sorowiak. Oh my word, he is pushing hard on that Moto 4 bike, which actually runs on used British Talent Cup tyres. But he still makes it work, and Sorowiak's having a tough time keeping it behind him. And let me tell you, Filip Sorowiak is not exactly slow.
Yeah, he certainly isn't, and right now Filip Sorowiak's diving down the inside once again, but as you mentioned, Ross is using his old British Talent Cup tyres. He said he didn't want it to rain this weekend because his wet tyres did all pre-season testing on them and that they were absolutely destroyed. Yeah,
he did. Well, a brilliant move at the inside of Chandler's there from Sullivan Mountsie. Yeah, we were speaking to him again, really nice young lad, as are all of the young riders here at FAB-Racing, a real family community feel here. And he's literally like, I did all my pre-season on these wets, so if it rains I'll probably crash because they've got no tread left on them. So it's good for Sully that it's nice and sunny here in South Wales. 2 laps left to go. Belford has disappeared into the distance, but Sullivan Mountsie slides into 2nd place. With Sorowiak just behind and Banham a few seconds behind. Then Evan Belford though with a 4-second lead up the front. That is very impressive, to put it mildly. He won race 2 at the death. Race 3, it looks like, of course, pending a disaster, he's going to win quite comfortably.
Yeah, it certainly does. Evan Belford, he's looking so strong. Going into final corner, putting it in, getting it pinch point perfect, and that is why he is leading this race, and that is why he has the fastest lap of the race with 47.4, and now he has a 3.7 second lead over Sullivan Mountsie, which has a decent lead over Filip Sorowiak now at the line, 0.6 of a second. Looks like it's widened even more now, but Evan Belford, a masterclass once again. Such a nice young man, racing the British Talent Cup, 3rd in the championship last year, and had a slight injury at the start of the year, broke his leg, but he's back on it, he's back on the pace. On the final sector of the track now, you can just see the confidence, a much more classic riding style, so centralised on the motorcycle, but it works, he looks behind him, he sees that nobody is there, nobody's there to challenge him, he's going to enjoy this final corner, gets it in, power it out, and celebrate, maybe a wheelie to the line, and takes the checker flag, is Evan Belford for the final race of the weekend for the Extreme 200 class. Sullivan Mountsie gets that 2nd position from Filip Sorowiak, a battle to the death from them guys, but Evan Belford, masterclass once again, and showing his pure confidence on the bike as Rossi Banham in 4th position takes checker flag now.
Yep, great performance there from Evan Belford. Again, stole it at the death in race 2, but race 3 wanted to make his mark and really made it his own. Further back, neck and neck to the line, but it will just be Zach Torin who finishes in 5th, with Noah Guillory coming home in 6th, and Jack Andrews limps home an unhealthy sounding motorcycle into P7. That will be it then for the Extreme 200s. Evan Belford takes the win with Sullivan Mounsey in 2nd. Philip Soroviak rounds out the podium with Rossi Banham coming home in 4th. Zach Torian was followed by Noah Guillory and Jack Andrews coming home 7th. And last, but of course not least.
Yeah, exactly. Great race from the Extreme 200 guys. It's pretty much exactly what we expected. Evan Belford, he had an absolute masterclass again. We're expecting maybe slightly closer between Evan Belford and Philip Soroviak go by race 2, but he just managed to get into that rhythm and managed to get it absolutely perfect.
And Archie O'Brien sets his eyes on the prize as we get ready for race 3 in the Mini GP50s. He had a huge off in race 2. We just caught the aftermath of it, and the bike somehow knotted a million pieces, but it was certainly broken inside at a big high side coming out of Matt Werters. And well, we'll have to wait and see what he can deliver back on the bike. Maybe confidence dented, but he's all fixed up and ready to go racing. But of course, that number 7, Luke Fitchett, is the only obstacle that stands in his way. He has been the class of the field after Marco Holt decided to disappear to Spain. And we're hoping that, Marco, you're having a great time out there and enjoying the sun and enjoying the Moto 4. And we can't wait to see you back at Raura in a few weeks' time. But for the time being, it's Luke Fitchett who starts on pole, with Archie O'Brien going alongside him. Bill Harris starts from P3 with Finlay Polehill in P4. Frankie Watson in P5 after taking his best result of the season in race 2. And Bailey Lawrence rounds out our grid. All eyes on that front row once again. It's all about O'Brien versus Luke Fitchett. With no Holt, it's between them for the championship lead this race. Luke Fitchett's taken 2 from 2 so far, but he's had to work for it. Archie O'Brien desperately wants that first win of the season. Yeah,
he really does. He had quite a big crash, to be honest. He was really wanting it to rain, it seemed, going into his final race of the weekend. But heading into this weekend, although there is no Marco Holt, it was a 7-point lead that Luke Fitchett had over Marco Holt, so it was so tight in the championship. But of course, Marco, hope you're having a good time, hope you're enjoying the coverage here, and we hope all you guys at home are enjoying the coverage. If it's your first time here watching at FAB, please like and subscribe and share and comment down below of who you're supporting here and who you're expecting to win this race, because we can't call it up here in the commentary box. So it's going to be Luke Fitchett on that pole position with the Barry Sheen 7 going off up front, Spider-Man helmet alongside. He's made good starts so far in recent rounds. What will he be able to do? Will he get his first win? Lights are on and lights are off, and Luke Fitchett gets a cracking start. But Archie O'Brien, best start I've probably seen him ever do, and straight away takes the race lead off Luke Fitchett. In the race lead goes Mark Holt in the Mini GP50s. Will this convert it into first race win? Luke Fitchett is not going to go down without a fight. Luke Fitchett all weekend has been so quick on that Metrokit bike. He's been so confident in the 50s and in the 70s and had so much more track time than Archie O'Brien. But Archie O'Brien, he's desperate for this race win. His whole family are desperate for this race win. It's beautiful conditions for it, so let's see what's going to happen as they come round to the back straight. And in all this, Frankie Watson is back up into 3rd place ahead of Finlay Polehill again, who has an incredible battle last race as Luke Fitchett dives down the inside at the last corner and takes the race lead off Archie O'Brien. Archie O'Brien tries to carry that corner speed. What will they be able to do into turn 1? It looks like it's Luke Fitchett leading from Archie O'Brien, but Archie O'Brien back down the inside, once again the exact same place. Wow, awesome start from O'Brien. It's the best start we've seen from him all season, and Fitchett was like a firebolt away from the line, but Archie O'Brien was also very strong and slid through into the lead at the hook, and now leads the race for, well, the 2nd time today, but it's the 1st time he's really been in front of Luke Fitchett all weekend long. He's been staring at the back of the defensive genius that is Luke Fitchett, and now that number 91 is in front on the Vision Track Academy bike. Luke Fitchett trying the same move again, down the inside on the brakes, gets the move done nice and clearly. Oh, O'Brien has to stand up
and that will definitely give Fitchett the lead, but there's still 9 laps left to go. It's a long old race here in the final race of the 50s. O'Brien's not going to be close enough for the same move this time, and I think Fitchett's learned from his mistakes. He takes a much tighter line through, but we've got another battle for the ages on our hands. Fitchett versus O'Brien, who won slightly wide that time around through the left-hander. This could be anybody's guess. O'Brien finally looks like he really has the pace on a rebuilt motorcycle to truly challenge for the win.
Yeah, Archie O'Brien, it looks like he's just building up that momentum, building up that speed, and it looks like he's even looking at a move at the chicane. It's so tight for there on these bigger 50cc Metrokit bikes, and now coming down the straight, will O'Brien try and hand back what Luke Fitchett has done to him twice? It doesn't look like it. Maybe he's just lining it up for that first chicane where he's looked so strong on the switch to the left-hander. They come round to make it just 8 laps to go in this race, as Frankie Watson has having to start to think about defending from Finlay Paul Hill. It's so great to see how far Frankie Watson's got, because now it's the first time Frankie Watson's went to a circuit that he's been to 2 times in a row and be able to race at for the second race weekend on the same bike.
Absolutely, of course, Frankie Watson, this is his first season of motorcycle racing, full stop. You know, no mini motos, no nothing, he's just turned up with the 50 and they've gone racing. The progress he's been making has been an absolute joy to watch. And, you know, he clearly loves racing, he clearly loves being on the bike, and now he's back at Llandow. It's a circuit that, well, he obviously knows it the best, because we've been here before. We came here for round 2, and now we're back at round 6. And now he's really putting on a display. He got a podium earlier on. Can he make it 2 podiums in a weekend? Up front, Luke Fitchett still leads with 7 laps to go. Archie O'Brien looking close, not close enough to challenge yet. As Finlay Paul Hill following Frankie Watson with Bill Harris. Unfortunately, I think his confidence taking a knock. And there we see Bailey Lawrence down the back of the field of the 6 bike field. Not the biggest field we've had here in the Mini GP 50s. But she's doing a great job anyway. Of course, Bailey, the only female rider we have in the 50s this season. And it's great to see, of course, the female representation in FAB always on the up every single round. And Bailey doing a great job as always.
Yeah, she certainly is. And Luke Fitchett doing a great job up front with the fast lap of the race, a 49.2 now. So a super quick lap time, 2/10 off the lap record, and now is pushing on this race. But now Finlay Paul Hill has started to push on in this race because he's caught right up to the back of Frankie Watson. Frankie Watson, it looks like at the start he's getting a far better start as Finlay Paul Hill, but Finlay Paul Hill mid-race just starts to climb back in, and it leaves it to the last lap to decide this final podium position, as now up front actually it's a 1.3 second gap, so slightly widened, while these guys go all at it for the final podium hopes.
Yeah, it's very close out there. And actually, Luke Fitchett, new lap record by a few thousandths of a second, breaks Marco Holt's time from last year to 49.007 for Luke Fitchett. He is getting his head down and getting a move on. Can Archie O'Brien respond, because it's quite a way back already? Luke Fitchett with a new lap record. Does he go even quicker this time? No, he doesn't. Couple of tenths down, but he is lapping very quickly. Luke Fitchett is desperate to make it a hat-trick of wins. He wants to take full advantage of Marco Holt not being here. I do apologise, Marco, if you're watching along. But, well, your championship hopes are being hammered here by Luke Fitchett. And not only that, he's just taking your lap record off of you. This is stunning stuff from Flat Cap Fitchett on the number 7. He is just motoring around here at Llandow.
He certainly is. And Bill Harris, who we haven't mentioned yet, still rebuilding his confidence from his crash this morning. In that 5th position, putting in consistent times. A 51.4 is his best time so far. So still a very competitive time. And yeah, not too far off actually. His qualifying result, 2/10 off his qualifying time. So really rebuilding that confidence. It's great to see these young riders getting back on the bike after the crash. And Frankie Watson now maintaining that gap actually from Finlay Paul Hill. Can he be able to do it though for 4 laps? Still 4 laps to go is the real question, as Luke Fitchett up front has extended his gap to 2.6 seconds, while these guys are just separated by 7/10 of a second.
Yeah, it's very tight between Frankie Watson and Finlay Paul Hill in this fight for P3. Of course, when this was the fight for P2 and race 2, in the end it was Finlay Paul Hill who got the better of Watson. But, you know, that was earlier. The track conditions were different. The racing, it was a different scenario. They were fighting for 2nd and not 3rd. So it could be anybody's guess as to who's going to get the final podium place. And there is the gap. And Luke Fitchett is streaking further and further away. And Archie O'Brien, he's got 2.5 seconds back. He's had a taste of being in the lead, but can't quite match the pace. The young man on the Vision Track Academy, his first season on a Grand Prix bike, and Luke Fitch at that time lapped about a second faster than Archie O'Brien. And let me tell you, Archie O'Brien is quick. As I was saying, it's his first season on the Grand Prix bike after a double championship-winning Mini Moto run last year. Didn't do a lot of time on the bike over the winter either, so we'll have to wait and see. And we've actually just been told in our ear that apparently Archie O'Brien in race 1 went out with a wet rear and a slick front. So apparently bike was a little bit of a handful. So that, yeah, that's yeah, I wouldn't personally want to do that. That's probably not a good idea. But anyway, he's currently running P2. 2 laps left to go now. Coming up to lap Bailey Lawrence as well. Pending a disaster for Luke Fitcher. Unfortunately for O'Brien, who came into this one so desperately wanting a win, I think he's going to have to wait another weekend.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it, and definitely a gamble to say the least. As Phil Paul has actually got past Frankie Watson that time around. 2 laps ago, his battle's heating up. But such a big gamble to make in race 1 from O'Brien, because whenever you're running wet tyres in dry conditions, it just starts overheating. The second that tyre overheats, your bike starts moving about. Even on the straight, it feels like it's about to flick you off, to be honest. It's so uncomfortable, and it's so, like, it hinders your confidence, I guess you could say, especially coming from this back set to your rear tyre will be moving about, you'll be feeling it. It's an awful sensation. It feels so soft due to the wet tyre. But Luke Fitchett takes the last lap flag, and he's on course to take a 3rd race win. He's been so strong all weekend. A 5.7 second gap now to Archie O'Brien. Who would have thought that at the start of the race? It looked so close, but Luke Fitchett has got into a rhythm, and got into a rhythm of his own. No one can catch him but himself. No one can beat him but himself. So 1 lap left, half a lap left now for the number 7, the Barry Sheen inspired number, the Barry Sheen inspired rider. We have 1 more straight to go, and then 1 more corner to go before he can take the 3rd race win, the last race win of the weekend for the Mini GP 50 Championship. What will he be able to do? Will he be able to make it around the final corner? Yes, he will. He's done it. The 3rd race of the weekend, the last race of the weekend for the 50s. Luke Fitchett takes the race win on the number 7. Nobody can stop him that time around. He's coming across the line now. Husband O'Brien by 6.8 seconds. Further down the field, battle for the final podium position. It's Finlay Paulhill who looks to have it. It's been dragged to the line. And now Frankie Watson just couldn't get 90 thousandths of a second. Luke Fitchett though takes a race win from O'Brien, and Finlay Paulhill rounds off our podium. Frankie Watson will come home in that 4th place. Bill Harris coming home in that respectable 5th place position. Bill Lawrence rounds off a short but sweet grid in 6th.
Well, what a performance all weekend long from Luke Fitchett, and crucially he put 75 points on Marco Holt. Sweeps the weekend, 3 race wins. Don't come any sweeter than that, does it? Archie O'Brien, you've got to feel for the young man. He came into this weekend determined to take a race win, and he got the taste of the lead, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be. But Luke Fitchett has now got a firm grasp on that championship lead, and Archie O'Brien has actually slid past Marco Holt into 2nd as well. So it's all to play for coming into Rowra in a few weeks' time, because that is it, unfortunately, for the Mini GP 50s this time out. The final appearance of the AC40 rookies is about to commence as the riders meet up in the dummy grid. And, well, of course, from the announcement earlier that the parents/volunteer marshals aren't allowed to signal to their children if they get a 1-second penalty, a few riders could be a little bit upset going into this one. You know, a lot of these younger riders especially do rely on their parents, you know, kind of telling them what to do at the side of the track, just making hand signals. Well, you're not allowed to do that anymore. You get a 1-second penalty. So, Lewis, suddenly, quite different conditions coming into this final race.
Yep, certainly different conditions. Taylor Thompson starting on that pole position in beautiful sunny weather. Sebastian Gieslowski will be starting in 2nd alongside him, but it's going to be a great race. Logan Cousins is starting in 3rd place, but we're just waiting for the final grid guys to line up, and then we can get underway for race 3 of the weekend for these guys. But it's going to be A cracker. It's sunny conditions. These guys may struggle slightly in the heat. They may not be used to racing in this hot of conditions. These guys, it's their first year racing for the majority of them. But now they're heading out on their formation lap. It's Taylor Tomlinson on pole position with Sebastian Gieslowski alongside him. Logan Cousins will be starting third with Nicholas Dunwoody alongside him. Josh Perkins will be starting off the third row with Seth Hayward alongside Annabelle McCarthy. One of our female riders here at FAB will be starting 7th alongside Kai Hawken. Tyler Hartley will be in 9th with Archie Hooper in 10th. Max Johnson 11th. Caelan Radcliffe will be starting in 12th. Daniel Longhurst 13th. Mason Frederick 14th. Oliver Wilson 15th. Henry Brody 16th and Freddie Taylor 17th, with Jensen Ansell back today will be starting 18th position.
So we are just waiting for the end for the formation lap as they all make it round. And by the way, just for information, the penalty I referred to earlier, it's not 1 second if you're caught signalling, it's 1 second per act of signalling, and that what a signal is up to race control apparently. They're just downstairs from us, so I'll run down afterwards and see if I can work out what's going on. But then, as they bring it in, you can see just in the back of your shot the race director Roger Keys just making a point. No signalling is the order of the day in the AC40 rookies, but it's their last time out on track. Let's make it a good one. It's been 2 from 2 for Sebastian Gieslowski as we wait for the final riders to come round to the grid. But Taylor Tomlinson, as much as he's struggled by his standards, having not taken a raceman, he is determined. But Sebastian has been on top. Well, what can Taylor do coming into the final race of the weekend for the AC40 rookies? The youngest category we have here at FAB, and always an entertaining one. It is the red lights on, and the red lights go out now, and it's once again a strong start from Gieslowski, but it's the best start we've seen all weekend from Taylor Tomlinson, but he can't take the lead. Gieslowski holds it on into the hook behind them as well. That's Nicholas Dunwoody, I believe, who shot into third place from fourth on the grid, but Gieslowski again, Lewis, with a fantastic start.
Yeah, great start from Sebastian Gieslowski. At the starts, it just seems he kicks a lot longer and runs with the bike a lot longer than Taylor Tomlinson. Taylor Tomlinson relies on that power of the bike, but it's maybe just not in the perfect position for the revs, not in the perfect power band for these bikes and for this track and for the race launch. So Sebastian Gieslowski in the race lead in a confident style on the number 64. Keep in mind, these guys are rookies, and in third position, well, it's a massive train of riders battling for it, but it looks like it's going to be the number 35 of Nicholas Dunwoody who stays in that third position. Josh Perkins looking to make a move up Seth Hayward, but cannot make it work at this final corner. Too far back it seems, and now we come across the line last time round. 0.3 of a second separating the leaders, so a lot to play for out front in this final rookies race of the weekend.
Gieslowski leads the way as they finish the first lap, and Taylor Tomlinson again, as I said in race 2, spoke to him this morning. And his worst problem, not that Gieslowski was getting the better start, it's just that Gieslowski is younger than him and he's lighter than Taylor Tomlinson. And you just can't quite keep up with him around here at Llandow for some strange reason, and no one really knows why. But, you know, keeping with him anyway for the time being is Taylor Tomlinson, the championship leader. Nicholas Dunwoody in P3 as well. And a big shout out to Logan Cousins, who went off third on the grid, and after a big crash in race 2, he's back out there. And you can just see him there fighting for P6 with Seth Hayward and Josh Perkins just in front, but this battle isn't over as the number 10 goes through. Or do they? No, they do not. Well, there you go. Seth Hayward keeps the position, and that is a pretty nice move from Tyler Hartley. And we've just been told that Seth Hayward, the number 15, has a 3-second penalty for a jump start. So Seth Hayward running P4, that's not how you want to end your weekend.
That's certainly not. Number 15 of Seth Hayward has a jump start penalty, but up at the front, Sebastian Gieslowski still with that race win, and that looks like actually that's going to drop him all the way back to about 7th position, Seth Hayward, so from 4th to about 7th, but the race not over yet. He can still make up some time. Sebastian Gieslowski is needing to make up some time though, because Taylor Thompson is on his tail and looking so strong. And into the braking zone we go now. They're both tucked in, both trying to get in slipstream. Sebastian Gieslowski looks like he's slightly worse on the brake at the final corner and not being able to carry as much momentum. That seems like where Taylor Thompson is making up all his time and making up all the time that he really needs to make that move and make that move for the race when it looks like he's building into something here. Down the inside he looks, and down the inside he does not go, because Sebastian Gieslowski shuts the door, slams the door, but he tries to go around the outside into the inside but has to back out of it. These guys are so smart. We've been racing with each other all year, so the trust that they have in each other is so great to see at such a young age. We're already approaching back markers.
Oh no!
Sebastian Gieslowski gets past it, but it looks like Thompson has been completely held up there. That is just the luck of back markers, and Taylor Thompson now is so far back. That's him just coming into the back straight. We're able to see the gap now. Yeah, the gap is pretty big. Looking towards the timing line now, it's going to be a real sign to see. I'm guessing about 2.5 seconds of gap now, just because of that one little moment for back marker. Anything can happen, and now, yeah 1.9 seconds is the gap.
Oh, that's a big shame for Taylor Tomlinson. Just chose the wrong way to go around the back marker. And that's a real shame as well, because that's in the part of the circuit where he's fast. He's really quick through the tight and twisty in the middle. But just coming onto that back straight, again, it's just the weight advantage. The younger age of Sebastian Gieslowski just allows him to pull away, because he's just smaller, he's lighter, he's more aerodynamic than Taylor Tomlinson. So he just pulls away down the straight. Tomlinson, though, I'm sure will now be riding like a boy possessed and will be wanting desperately to catch back up as he heads into the Dell. Some action further back as well. There's riders this way and that way, all looking for a way through. I believe that's Annabelle McCarthy and the Hawk and Ratcliffe Hooper pack all having a fight at the back end of the top 10 as they all head down this small Spitfire straight and into the loop, of course, named after the Spitfires. They're loose to fly out of here. IF Llandow as Lewis rolls his eyes next to me. And then back to the fight in front of them as well. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, Hayward, Perkins, Cousins and Hawken. And of course, do keep in mind that Hayward has that 3-second penalty for a jump start. With 3 laps to go, Gieslowski leads the way. Tomlinson's just set a new fastest lap. That is almost a second faster than Sebastian Gieslowski, and he's cut down the advantage to just 0.6 of a second. Tomlinson is back on it.
Yeah, Crew has something in the back pocket, a 57.7. That's an incredible lap time, and 1/10 off the lap record that's currently held by Archie Gibbs, set in 2019. So fast. These guys are pushing on. And now Sebastian Gieslowski, if Tomlinson can keep this pace up, if it's not just a one-lap wonder, now he needs to find something new in his back pocket and find some time somewhere in the track, because Taylor Thompson is closing, and he's closing fast. 3 laps to go, 2 laps to go now, crossing the timing beam, and Taylor Tomlinson on the orange and black bike is looking strong. He's looking like he wants to attack, and he's looking like he's building towards a move there as Annabelle McCarthy is fighting with Tyler Hartley further down in the field as Sebastian Gieslowski is managing to hold off Taylor Thompson, but Taylor Thompson looking so racist. Battles everywhere in the field. Tyler Hartley looks like he's just trying to build up that speed, get past Annabelle McCarthy, but it's kicking off everywhere down the field. Sebastian Gieslowski and Taylor Thompson hitting back markers once again at the same place, but luckily both through. No time has been lost this time around. 2 laps to go in this race. More back markers are approaching now. It just depends when they'll get past them. Sebastian Gieslowski and Taylor Thompson go down the back straight now, go into the final corner to start the last lap of the race. It looks slightly wide there. It's going to be a grandstand finish. Everyone at the track is watching from the side, all the friends, all the family. Taylor Tomlinson has a little bobble on the front there. He's pushing so hard. The bike's on its limit. He's building towards a move. Once again, we've seen how fast he's been through this first sector. Can he make anything work? Not for here, but on the switchback, we've seen how fast he can go, and now looking for a move once again, but it's Gieslowski who shuts the door. Taylor Tomlinson has a massive moment, almost wipes out his front tire. Sebastian Gieslowski manages to keep that gap, keep his momentum and keep his composure in the race lead right now. 1 lap to go, half a lap to go. Just one more straight to keep cool, keep calm and keep his powder dry, but Taylor Tomlinson will have the slipstream and will have the momentum towards the final corner. It's going to be all on the brakes, but Taylor Tomlinson saving that from being an accident early on. Logan Cousins involved in the battle with Annabelle McCarthy and Tyler Hartley further down, but there's your race winner, and there is Sebastian Gieslowski, and there's Taylor Tomlinson getting another second place in the final race of the weekend for the AC40 rookie, guys. There's been a crash on the last lap. That's Jensen Ansel, but he's back on the bike straight away on his feet and going to finish the race. But Nicholas Dunwoody will get that third in the battle. Still raging on between Annabelle McCarthy and Logan Cousins right now. Further down the field, Annabelle McCarthy goes down the inside and gets Logan Cousins on the number 7. Tyler Hartley just behind, lost quite a lot of time on that last lap, has Tyler Hartley, but taking the checker flag all through cleanly, and what a race that was.
For the first time this season, it is Sebastian Gieslowski who sweeps a weekend, but my oh my, did he have to work for it. And that was a brilliant, brilliant way to end the racing for the AC40 rookies. And as the rest of the riders cross the line, it will be Sebastian Gieslowski who takes a brilliant race win. Taylor Tomlinson, despite his best efforts, the championship leader, could do no better than second places, but it's 3 second places, so it's not too bad, to be fair. Could be worse, but I'm sure that nonetheless the racer in him will be very, very disappointed in that one. And Nicholas Dunwoody rounding out the podium. What a brilliant way then to end the AC40 rookies action. So it will be Sebastian Gieslowski taking the victory with Taylor Tomlinson in second. Nicholas Dunwoody is in third with Seth Hayward in fourth. Josh Perkins takes fifth. Kai Hawken takes sixth. Annabelle McCarthy is seventh. Logan Cousins is eighth with Tyler Hartley in ninth. And Caelan Ratcliffe in P10. So as we get ready to go racing once again for the final time in the Moto team class, I'm joined by a very special guest and the owner of the #1 bike, Jamie King. Jamie, pleasure to have you along here.
Nice to be here.
And of course, racing yourself in race 2. It's not you on the bike in race 1 and race 2. We've done our best to try and inform the viewers at home of how the whole Moto team thing works.
We're gonna make it a lot easier for you guys next season. We're actually gonna have team names, and then we're gonna put the riders underneath the team names at the start of the season, so you always know, or you've got an idea who could be on the bike.
Oh, that's very helpful. Thank you very much.
So,
well, yeah, great to have you along. Of course, you've run some pretty good races so far. I believe you won the standard class in race 2. If
no, second.
Second.
Ian Jackson won it.
Of course.
So
it was close.
We've had a race each. Obviously, Sean won the first one yesterday, and Ian won the second one today. So it's all going into this last one to get the overall win.
Yep, absolutely. So as the riders make their way out onto the grid for the final time this weekend, if you're just joining us, hello and welcome to round 6 of the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship. You join us just in time for the final race of the weekend for the Moto team class as they make their way out onto the grid. It's been a fantastic day's worth of racing. And, well, as we get ready to go around for our formation lap, it will be Will Howarth once again starting from pole position with Sean Whittaker on that #1 of Jamie King going from P2. Jack Andrews' bike, the number 14, starts in P3 with Ian Jackson going from P4.
There you go, it's Nathan Riggy.
It's Nathan Riggy on Jack Andrews' bike. This is where it gets confusing because Jack Andrews is on Jason Pugh's bike just behind him. It's a bit confusing.
I think if they were both in the standard class, I don't think Riggy would have let him do it because they're in separate classes. And obviously, Jason had a terrible tumble in the wet yesterday.
Yeah.
He's helping Keith Bolton's team out. So
it's a bit confusing. So the bike that it says Andrews on the side, Jack Andrew is not on that one. He's on another one. But it will be Jason Pugh with Jack Andrews on it. The number 8 going from 5th. The number 19 of Phil Mapplebeck from 6th place. Row 4 is the 333 and the 888 of Scott Jewett and Madison Martlew. And then rounding out the top 10 is Philip Joyce on the 119, Paul Kelly on the 339, and then Ian Baker. The 229 starts from P11. That'll be your grid for the final race of the Moto team weekend. And as the riders line up on the grid, of course, Will Howarth is leading the way.
Yeah, I know Will hasn't been getting that bike running right, so he's been making for some really good battles with Sean and Ian and Riggy as well. So we'll see if he's got sorted this race, but his open bike, if he can get it working, he should fly away. Here we go.
Lights out, we're underway.
Really
Not
good
the
start.
best start there from Will Howard, but he gets away well. A decent start from the number one as well, and I believe that's Nathan Riggy trying to slide up the inside of Ian Jackson on the 270. Yes, it is. He slides through on the 14 into third place overall. Somehow Will Howard, despite not getting the best immediate launch, has managed to get himself quite a good gap already. But as we saw in race 2, it may not all be sunshine and rainbows. Might be falling back a little bit as the race progresses. Just depends on how the bike is running. The 14 through on the 270s. We can see just behind the number 8.
Up the inside, I think, of Nathan Riggy.
Did he get through?
No,
not
Nathan
quite.
held it. Let's give Sean a little bit of a gap now. But Will looks like he's got it sorted. He's pulled a nice early lead.
Yeah,
and then we've got Jack right up behind Ian Jackson.
Yeah, that top 5 breaking away once again, of course. Bear in mind the 2 different classes here. So as we see, that's the number 119. Yeah, Philip Joyce going down.
Looks like mechanical.
Yeah, well, yeah, hopefully he can get the bike restarted, but looks like
Jack Andrews is up the inside of Ian Jackson, so Ian's dropped another position now.
Yeah, there you go. Ian Jackson has been really, really quick all weekend long, suddenly encountering problems in this final race and going backwards early on, so he'll drop to 3rd in the standard class and 5th place overall. Again, the overall positions, they don't really matter that much this year. It's all about where you're fighting with your class.
Yeah, the flags, no overtaking into there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult place to overtake down into the Chandler's corner anyway. If you can pull it off, you're a brave, brave rider. But yellow flags for the mechanical issue with Phil Joyce. Cannot overtake, of course. And as they head back onto the hangar straight, it is
Will's
still Will
not getting
Howard.
away.
No, again, Will Howard struggling in the straight line down the long hangar straight. Just hasn't quite got the pace once again. And that number 1 bike with Sean Whittaker on board.
Right there again.
Yeah, closing in. Again, just a reminder, Sean Whittaker on the number 1 and Will Howard, different classes, so if they're fighting, it really doesn't matter.
It is very nice though if you can get a bike in between you and your rivals. So
that is true.
If you can get Will in between you, and obviously we've got Nathan out there, it really helps. If you get a rider in between, they can't overtake you then, so it does help a lot.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what Sean has in his back pocket as they head down into Chandler's. No yellow flags this time. That Jack Andrews up the inside. Nice move up the inside as I think I just saw. Of his own teammate. I think I just saw there in the foreground of the shot someone running to pick up a bike.
And Ian has also got past Nathan Riggy as well. So Nathan Riggy has really lost a lot of momentum there.
Problems then for the number 14 bike. He's just lost 2 places in about 2 corners. So,
and a little gap is starting to appear between number 1 and number 8 now.
Yeah, so this battle for the overall lead starting to streak away. Howard and Whittaker, 2 different classes. But of course, the racer in them obviously wants the overall win. And Sean, he wants to put another rider in another class to put him between himself and his opponents. It will be Will Howard leading the way in the open class with the number 8 bike of Jason Pugh, with Jack Andrews on board in 2nd. And in 3rd place is Phil Mapplebeck, who looks like he's still going round in P6. Actually top 2 in the open class. In the standard is, of course, Jamie King's bike, the number 1 with Sean Whittaker on board, leading the way. Ian Jackson, the 270 in 2nd. And
Nathan has really dropped off the back of the group now.
He has, look at that. Nathan Riggy, despite running 3rd.
Oh, and Sean up the inside of Will. Yeah, he's got that done.
Nice move from Sean Whittaker. But all trying to get the cut back. Can he force up the inside? Can Will Howard make it work? No, not quite.
Well defended by Sean.
Yeah, lovely stuff. Lovely riding by Sean Whittaker.
A bit of a moment by Jack.
And we can see there some of the riders just struggling a little bit. It would seem it's very warm out there.
I did find in my last pit bike race, grip was starting to become an issue just because the temperatures have rose over today.
I mean, when you consider that everyone was expected to be absolute downpour today as well.
We were expecting rain. I had the wheels out at the start of the day, expecting we were going to put the wets in, but it's been perfect racing conditions today. Very unlike Llandow, we haven't had any wind at all either.
Yeah, no, it's really quite bizarre, the weather, but South Wales does what South Wales wants to do.
And we've got Rower next, which is even more bizarre.
For those unaware, Rower's in like a little quarry, so the weather is really its own microclimate.
Ian Jackson has just gone up the inside of Jack Andrews.
Yeah, he's got the move done. Not quite. They're still neck and neck coming into turn 1 as Will Howard retakes the overall lead of the race from Sean Whittaker. Of course, again, really wide. Both of them, did they touch coming through turn 1?
This has really helped Sean out. I'm not trying to be biased, but that was brilliant.
I mean, Jamie, of course, your number one bike is having a great time out
I just want to go down there now, tell Sean just to calm down. He's got a big gap.
But I think he just glanced back.
Yeah, he did.
He's just noticed that behind him was absolutely no one. I think he can just take it. He's from an
Ian Jackson,
yeah, down off the bike, coming through the left-hander. So problems for Ian Jackson. Can he get it going again?
It's electric start on these, so he should be able to get it going, but it depends if there's any damage.
But he's looking like he's struggling to get it moving. But if he got back to the front, and Will Howth has started to streak away, so I think he's backed off.
Sean has definitely thought, I've got the gap now.
The sensible decision, of course. Yeah. Sean leading the way in the standard class. Of course, you've got Nathan Riggy.
Second now in the standard class.
Yeah, Jackson as well. So all of that chaos down at the hook, down at turn one. It's
really helped Sean.
He can breathe a little bit easier. And obviously for you as the team boss, might just relax a little bit.
Oh, there's no team boss. We paid 50-50 for the bike, so we both look after it. We both have to do all the wheel changes and the maintenance. So it's good fun, cheap racing when you can spread the cross between two people.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is of course the some of the cheapest races that we have here at FAB-Racing as well, isn't it? I mean, you buy a road bike, stick a fair one, and off you go.
Slick tyres and away you go, and I would recommend anyone to come and get involved in it because it's cheap as chips racing.
Absolutely, and of course, if you do fancy getting involved here, don't be afraid to head over to the FAB-Racing website to find out more. And, well, as you said, cheap as chips racing, this is one of the cheapest grassroots form of motorsport can go, and well, again, Jamie, you've been here at FAB for a long while as well. Any advice for anyone looking to get a start here?
I would say, come have a word with me. I said I've done pretty much every class at FAB now, even when I was a kid doing the Metra kits and the mini motos and that, so I've done every class. So I also help run the FAB-Racing media channel, so you either can write to me personally or write to me on the FAB channel on Instagram, and I'll get back to you. The best way of advice is come to a meeting, come watch, and just come speak to some people. It's the best way, and you can find out what class is best for you. Yeah,
and really friendly community here, obviously, as well. Yeah. So it is a nice day to come and hang out and watch some racing as well. Of course, all of the action. And if you fancy coming along, we're in Rowra in the Lake District in a few weeks' time, and then in October for the finale, we are off to Red Lodge in Suffolk.
Hopefully the weather's like this again.
Yeah, hopefully the weather is nice and warm. We've had a few wet races in a row now. We've come to we expect it to be wet here, but it's been nice and sunny as we see there. Jack Andrews.
Phil Meckelback.
Yeah, Jack Andrews, I think, is having problems on that number 8.
The bike doesn't look like it's running great.
No, he's massively dropped back. He was originally running up there with with his own bike. With Nathan.
It got a bit tangled up.
But he's having a few problems now after that kerfuffle down at turn 1, and now Jack Andrews on Jason Pugh's bike. Of course, Jason Pugh not with us after doing in a few ribs and a collarbone in the practice, and we hope he gets well soon. And if you look back to the front, there is
Will's just streaked away now. He's got that bike running spot on now, but we see this from Will. That bike is extremely fast. Obviously, I think if Darren Anderton would have been here, they would have had the good battles that they usually do, but unfortunately Darren's not here this weekend. But hopefully he'll be back for Rara and we can have them two battling it out again.
Absolutely. Will Howth, though, once again, just absolutely flying up the front. He absolutely loves it around here. He absolutely loves that bike, and when they gel, when it all starts working, they are an unstoppable combination, leading the way overall, leading the way in the open class. Just behind them, though, of course, Sean Whittaker on that number 1 bike, leading the way in the standard class. And with about 2.5 laps left to go in the final Moto team race of the weekend. And seems like all of the action has seemingly separated a lot of riders running on their own. And
just Phil Meckelback and Jack Andrews still battling it out.
Jack Andrews, of course, having a few problems on that number 8 bike. Just, I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure if he's just been thrown off mentally maybe by that
I don't know if it might have been a problem with the bike that caused the moment. We don't know. So, but he's just trying to get the points for Keith Bolton's team now, because obviously we wish Jason gets well soon.
Yeah, absolutely, of course. Best of wishes to Jason Pugh. Hopefully we can see you back in action as soon as possible. But as Will Howarth rounds Chandler's Bend, one of the trickiest corners on the circuit, he has got
It's
a
extremely bumpy, that corner.
dominant lead in overall and the Open. But yeah, it is very good. I mean, what's it like riding around here?
It's hard to say. I'm not the biggest fan of Llandow, but it's been a lot better this weekend. My results have been a lot better. I've beaten my personal best on the pit bike this weekend, so I've been mega happy with that on the new bike. It's not one of my favourite tracks, I'm not gonna lie, but Rara, that's the one. Rara's awesome.
Last year, we stuck an onboard camera on your bike, which you promptly destroyed after 3 laps.
Yeah, so hopefully it'll go a bit better this season.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed.
But it's a lovely track, Rara. It's like where a lot of these tracks are kind of been put on old airfields, and that Rara's been like that is how the track's been made, so it's just an awesome track.
Absolutely, and on the weekend of the 16th, 17th, 18th of September, the next round at Rara of FAB-Racing, that's round 7 of 8. Make sure that you're watching along in the same places on the FAB-Racing and Motorsport Radio, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, etc, etc.
Here we go then, Will Howarth for the win, open class.
There we go, an overall win.
Dangling a leg like Rossi.
An open class. Easy, easy, easy for Will Howarth. He takes a hat-trick in the open class once again. What a dominant performance from Will Howarth.
He can't be far off taking that championship now. He should finish that off at Rara.
Absolutely, and once he got motoring, he absolutely flew off into the distance.
And here comes
taking
Sean.
the standard class victory, though, in a few moments' time.
Well
there
done,
he is, there he goes. In a few moments' time, crosses the line, and it is Sean Whittaker on the Jamie King #1 bike who takes the victory in the standard class. And then Nathan Riggy coming across the line, and the Jack Andrews #14. He takes 3rd overall, 2nd in the standard class. And then 3rd overall in the standard class will end up going to, I believe, Scott Jewett in P6. After Jack Angel on the Pew bike and Phil Maffebeck take 2nd and 3rd in the open class. That is it for your Moto team action this weekend. And well, once again, it was this man overall, Will Howarth. Once that bike got motoring, Jamie, he was gone.
Yeah, he got it. It's very highly strung, that two-strokes. Two-strokes are extremely hard to look after. But he's very good at it because obviously he's always up the front in the senior mini motos as well. So he finally got it running right for that last race day and just cleared off.
Absolutely. Well, what a weekend of racing we've had here in Moto. Thank you very much for joining us, Jamie.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing you all at Rara.
Of course. Make sure you're all there as well at home. That it's been a brilliant weekend of Moto team. And, well, again, they'll be back at Rara. As we bring it in for the LC40 Elite, the final LC40 Elite race of the weekend. Just waiting for the last of the previous races, guys, to clear up. And Lewis, well, it's been an interesting one. Of course, Finley Pole taking race 1, Austin Johnson sweeping in at the final corner to take race 2. It's really anybody's guess who's going to be on top coming race 3.
Yep, Austin Johnson was delighted with that race when we heard from him at the lunch break of just how happy he was, always how proud he was that he managed to make that move and make it stick. And he was also telling us that he has a slight straight line disadvantage compared to Finley Paul, so he really has to make up that time on the brakes and at the corners.
Yeah, absolutely. Finley Pole, a little bit of the opposite. I'll speak to his dad. He was a bit disappointed to lose out at the final corner, as you'd expect. But going off of the pole position, once again, he's got every opportunity to have a good result today. But the conditions have massively, massively changed since race 2. It is a lot warmer now. The track, of course, getting rubbered in now as well. So the behaviour of the bikes is going to be very, very tricky. Going to be very, very different. And it's going to be basically the first chance you can tell what your bike's going to be like, the first chance you can tell what the track's going to be like, is the formation lap.
Yes, certainly. The guys just heading up now on to the dummy grid before they head out on the formation lap. And then we can get underway for the AC40 Pro class. It's such great racing all weekend. It's proper drama. It's proper last lap drama for these guys. And yeah, these guys always produce great racing for us. Heading in to the weekend, it was Byron Johnson who had a massive championship lead by 110 points over Sam Gardner. So what's going to happen? Sorry, no, it was a Johnson brother 1-2 with Austin leading Byron by 48 points. So Byron, in his last AC40 Pro race, put on a great show coming from last. Will he be able to try and do somewhat the same in the elites? Because it's going to be Finley Paulhill who starts on pole position alongside Byron Johnson. Austin Johnson, his older brother, got the race win in race 2, will be starting from 3rd Sam Gardner will be alongside him with Harrison Day in 5th. Matthew Thomas will be starting in 6th, with Jensen Bishop and Chloe Gleeson on the 4th row of the grid. Oliver Hall will be starting in 9th, with Dylan Tureen 10th, George Ackerman 11th, and Cal Maxwell will be rounding off our grid here in the LC40 Elite class.
So a very, very strong grid once again in the LC40 Elites. And it is anybody's guess who is going to take victory in this final race. There are so many strong riders up there. And again, as I said, with the track conditions changing so much, it really could be anyone's race as we come into the final race for the LC40 Elites. Heading around now to finish their formation lap of Finley Powell, victory in race 1. Austin Johnson, victory in race 2. Who then, Lewis, takes victory in race 3?
We're going to have to wait and find out, and nerves now are rising for the last race of the weekend. This is the last opportunity to go home with a medal, to go home with a crown, and to go home with the confidence heading into the next round at Rowrot. Finley Paulhill and Byron Johnson lines up on the front row. They are both about to look to the lights. Who's going to be victorious here in race 3 at Llandow in South Wales? We wait for the lights to appear on. The lights are on and the lights are off, and we go racing, and Finley Paul makes a cracking start straight away as Byron Johnson is into that 2nd position, staying in that 2nd position. Austin still in that 3rd, Sam Gardner in 4th at the moment, Harrison Day dropping back slightly to 5th, but Chloe Gleeson there going for your picture as Finley Paul runs wide, and Byron Johnson takes the race lead straight away, but Finley Paul trying to dive straight back, but he cannot make it work. Now he's in a Johnson sandwich. It's so difficult. Both the Johnson brothers are so quick on a motorcycle. Byron being on an air-cooled bike, but still being able to do his masterclass. But Finley Paul takes the race lead, going back into the chicane. Now will Austin be able to get past his brother, get the momentum onto the straight? And yes, he can. And he's already through. We're not even quarter way through the straight. And Finley Paulhill, Austin Johnson, Byron Johnson is your top 3.
I think Byron Johnson, unfortunately, just compromised his entry into Chandler's to try and take a defensive line, and that just killed his momentum up the Spitfire straight. And again, speaking to Austin Johnson earlier on, he believes that Finley Paulhill has the faster bike this weekend. He just thinks it's that little bit quicker. It just works a little bit better around this Llandow circuit. But Austin Johnson already up into 2nd place and already challenging Finley Paulhill on his rear as they go through McWhirters and looking to try and move through to take a 2nd race win of the weekend with 8 laps left to go. But of course, Finley Paulhill, a brilliant rider on a very, very fast mini moto machine. He is not going to let him through easily. It's going to be a dogfight all the way to the wire as they head down the hangar straight. And once again, Austin Johnson slightly larger than Finley Paulhill. Both of them some of the more older riders on the grid. But Finley just that little bit smaller, got a smaller frame, a little bit stronger aerodynamically down the straight. So he has that advantage. But Austin Johnson gaining massively through the hook section, and Finley Paulhill runs very, very deep indeed, and Austin Johnson through to the lead. A bizarre moment there for Finley Paulhill. I can't tell if he missed his braking zone or if he almost looked like he let Austin Johnson through. It was easy as that.
Well, Finley Paulhill now has a lot of time to make up, and now it looks like he wants that position back. It definitely wasn't deliberate, but Finley Paulhill, he does also race in the 50 Mini GP 50 class, so he has extra track time around here, extra time on the bike, extra time to feel the conditions around this circuit. They both come down the hangar straight now, and it's Austin Johnson, who takes the race lead in this race. Coming across timeline this time, it'll be 6 laps to go, just 6 laps, and just less than 2/10 separating them. Byron Johnson just further back on the 3rd position, on the final place on the podium, as Harrison Day's in a scrap right now with Jensen Bishop straight on his tail and Matthew Thomas just behind. That's a 4-bike battle actually right now for that 4th place. Johnson, Gardner, Day, Bishop all fighting for it as Bishop goes slightly wide there and Matthew Thomas is trying to bite back, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to make it work as Harrison Day, much wider exit, much more sweeping line as Jensen Bishop is now trying to make a way past, but up front once again Austin Johnson, he's looking strong, but Finley Paulhill with the quote-unquote faster bike. We don't know actually how much faster it is in a straight line. You only really know when you're on the bike because it's not too visible to see, is in that 2nd position.
I'm going to trust Austin Johnson in this one, but Austin's also in the lead, so who really knows? Again, the track has changed so much since the second race. It's warmer, the track is sticky with all the rubber that's been laid down, so it's going to be more brutal on the tyres, more violent on the tyres. We see further back in the pack some fighting going on in the mid-pack. Jensen Bishop trying to challenge Harrison Day. Just behind them, Matthew Thomas as well, looking to make a move forward. Harrison Day unfortunately hasn't quite had the race pace today. He's made some really good starts. He was really strong in qualifying in both the LC40 Elites and the AC40 Pros, but just come race day, it just hasn't quite worked out for him, unfortunately, and hopefully he can find his rhythm with 5 laps left to go and hold on to that 5th place. But of course, Jensen Bishop, Matthew Thomas, 2 very, very talented young riders looking to make a move. That's Harrison Day actually trying to break the toe heading down that back straightaway, because in these mini motos, the slipstream, the toe is so important, because most of the aerodynamics of the bike is because there's so little bike and you want to get as fast as you can down the straight. You've really got to just crouch in.
Yes, certainly. And Sam Gardner this round looks like he's got a slightly new front fairing on, but he's as quick as ever. He's had quite an up and down season, has Sam Gardner, from round 1, having quite a violent crash if we cast our minds back all the way back to Lid. But he's came back, and he's came back stronger in that 4th position right now, leading the 3 riders behind him and leading quite a fierce battle for 4th position right now as we go back to up front. Finlay Paul Hill looks slightly closer actually this time round, a slightly more sweeping line, slightly more mid-apex corner speed, and now he's carrying all that momentum through to the first chicane and through to the first overtaking opportunity that we're going to come to. The door does shut on you quite easily here though, so it's very easy for Austin Johnson to defend. His brother Byron still lies in 3rd, 7 seconds off these 2 guys. These 2 guys are up front and are away from everyone else. It's looking like a strong performance from Austin Johnson and Finlay Paul Hill, both of them on the pace straight away.
Absolutely, those 2 are flying away at the front. Obviously, considering Byron Johnson is on an air-cooled bike compared to these 2, they've put 7, nearly 8 seconds into the poor young lad. And of course, that's no disrespect to Byron Johnson, but these 2 have just shot off into the distance. And after this corner, it'll be 2 laps to go. Johnson, that being the Austin one, holds the advantage, but Finlay Polhill going from pole position, he wants that 2nd win. This is a battle. This is for whoever wins this race, takes 2 wins this weekend. Austin Johnson will desperately want it to continue his championship dominance, but Finlay Polhill would just love it to come away with a 2nd medal to his name after sustaining an injury earlier in the year and having to come back and rediscover his form. But he's doing a class job so far on the 113, and I think he's just sitting, waiting patiently. I think he's being smart about it. I don't think he's going to do the move on the last lap if he can.
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. It's almost last lap time now, though. Austin Johnson leads from Finlay Polhill. Will Finlay Polhill try and make a last lap, last corner move like Austin done to him and get payback and get that confidence heading into Rowra? But now, once again, a far more wider sweeping line from Finlay Polhill as he looks down the inside for the first turn, but he cannot make it work. He cannot get through. He cannot find the gap in Austin Johnson. Austin Johnson, he's defending perfectly, and he's not going too defensive to affect his drive. But now Finlay Polhill forcing his way up the inside, but it gets slammed shut by Austin Johnson. Some back markers potentially getting into play now. We're just going to have to wait and see when they hit it, if they get into them, and where and how lucky these riders are going to be when they come to him, because this is the last lap. There's George Ackerman and Cal Maxwell having a battle, but there's the race leaders right at him. Finlay Polhill is looking like he's going to get held up, and he has. And Austin Johnson now has got the race lead and got it by quite a long shot, just 1 corner to go. Austin Johnson has got his luck with the back markers and will win this race. Race 3 of the LC40 Elites goes to him, and Finlay Polhill is so frustrated and so disappointed, but he can take nothing away from him. It was pure luck when he hit the back markers. Austin Johnson wins the race from Finlay Polhill, and then his brother Byron comes home in that 3rd position and in that air-cooled bike.
We have seen time and time again how the how the back markers can completely change a race. And actually Finlay Polhill looks like he's actually gone down after the checkered flag, so hopefully he's all okay. back on the bike to ride it back to the pit, so that's fine by my book. What a shame for him though, but again, we've seen time and time again this season, not just in the leagues, but in all the classes, how the backmarkers just can flip a race on its head, be it midway through it, be it coming onto the final straight for the final time. And well, what a shame for Finley Polehill. But Austin Johnson, 2 wins out of 3. Gives a smile and a wave to the camera. He is absolutely beside himself with that one, and it will mean so much as he continues his domination in the championship. What a win there for Austin Johnson. He did have to fight hard for it, and Lady Luck had to lend her hand to Austin Johnson, who takes victory by only 0.4 of a second, even with the help from the backmarker. Finley Polehill just losing out through some rotten luck. Byron Johnson brings it home in P3 with Sam Garner in P4. Jensen Bishon is 5th with Harrison Day in 6th place. Matthew Thomas brought it home in 7th. Chloe Gleason managed to work it up into P8 with Oliver Hall in 9th. And Dylan Turian rounds out the top 10. That is it for the LC40 Elites. That is it for the junior mini motos. Full stop here at Llandow Kart Circuit. But, of course, they'll be back next time at Rowra for 3 fantastic races on the 17th and 18th of September.
Coming up next, we will have the last race of the weekend for the Mini F1 sidecars. These guys, it's been a dramatic weekend. It's been a dramatic season up to this point, actually. And McWilliams, they managed to win race 2, surprisingly to some actually, which is something that we're not normally used to seeing because Mike Elms, his normal passenger, is not here and is replaced by Josh Papworth for this weekend. But what is going to happen this time around? Last time actually there was quite a lot of drama even before the race started because MP had issues before the race even started. Really, their bike cut out, but it looks like it's all sorted. And obviously the 369 of Vince Bailey had the identical issue twice with the bike cutting out of them as they went on the race start. So what will happen this time around? They will have one warm-up lap where the Green Streets will be going from pole position alongside Vince Bailey. Hopefully all issues are sorted with that outfit. Mick Williams, the last race winner, will be starting in 3rd and championship leader. And John Hosker will be starting in 4th position alongside them. Jacob Keats should have been starting in 5th, but I do not see him anywhere after that horrific crash in race 2. Chris MP will be starting 6th with Mark Parker rounding off our grid in 7th position. So a lot of drama to come in this race 3.
Absolutely, of course, the Keats, the 666. Yeah, nowhere to be seen, it would seem. I can't see the 127 of John Hosker either. So it looks like we've only got a 5 sidecar race on our hands, which is a shame, but you know, the sidecars nonetheless. Bit of wheel rub, a bit of bishing and bashing, and it's all fun and games. And of course, it's this machine, the number 26, which for the first time in history, full stop, we were surprised to see win a race because no one thought, not even Mick Williams himself, thought he was going to come away from this weekend with a first place medal. Even though Mick Williams doesn't even accept the first place medals, he gives them back so FAB-Racing doesn't have to keep buying them for him because he wins so much. But for the second time this season, Mick Williams did not finish on the top step of the podium in race 1. The Green Streets took the race win, but in race 2, with Josh Papworth, they somehow took a race win. The first and last time we'll ever say we're surprised seeing Mick Williams on the top step. Can they do it again? Can the Green Streets do it this time again? Red lights off, we're underway. It's a rocket ship start from Mick Williams. That's the best start he's had all season, straight into 2nd place behind the Green Streets. And for an outfit that rarely gets a strong start, they've gotten away so well. Vince Bailey nowhere to be seen. They've already cut the engine out and Vince Bailey out of the race. So it's 4 sidecar race. They've pulled off straight away at the start. So a shame for the 369. But Mick Williams, what a start that was into 2nd. But the Green Streets hold on.
Yeah, certainly the Green Streets hold that first position and hold that race win right now. They got the first race win of the weekend, but then Mick Williams have fought back, and Mick Williams is fighting back right now on that Red Bull livery outfit, that number 26 that been so used to seeing win all year, and for many years they have pure competition now with the green streets. The green streets been looking so good, but now McWilliams looks so good into the final corner, and he makes the move and he makes it stick. But now with the undercut goes the green streets. The green streets get past McWilliams again. McWilliams and the green streets, they go towards the race, and their outfits are completely different from each other. It's so great to see. The number 90 though still leads the way from McWilliams. McWilliams and Josh Papworth is looking so racy. What's going to happen? It looks like it's going to be a completely different outcome right now, because it looks like it's going to be a race right to the flag with just 6 laps to go in this race.
Green Street's just holding on in the number 90, but Mick Williams and Josh Papworth, they are right on the back of Jason and Leo. This is going all the way down to the wire as the green streets hold on to the lead coming through the dell, but Mick Williams looks superior on the brakes coming into the hairpin after the hanger straight, which we go on to now. Looks a little bit far back this time, so maybe not. Green Streets go defensive to the inside. Does Mick Williams try the cut back on the inside? No, Green Streets take defensive. Oh, but there goes Mick Williams. Superb drive out of the corner. Inside line into the hook. Mick Williams to the lead with a brilliant move up the inside. And now, advantage 26. Advantage the Williams outfit, even with the regular passenger off having a baby. They are still fast.
Yeah, they still are, and they're still in the lead of the race right now, but not for long. It doesn't look like, because the green streets want the race lead back. But look at that gap actually already formed by McWilliams from the green streets. The green streets, so they do not give up. They do not give up to the last lap. There's been quite controversial situations going on this weekend in the paddock. Some protests, but McWilliams, his passengers deliver the baby, but will McWilliams deliver another win this weekend in race 3? And now it was like there was a slight issue of their drive onto the straight there, but all sorted now. And now they go into the final corner now with just at the line this time 4 laps to go, and barely they have a lead right now. It's 1.6 seconds, which isn't too much. All it takes is one mistake, one misgear, or one slight issue from McWilliams, and then boom, the green streets are back in it. Chris Impey though lies still in that 3rd position, in that final podium position.
The green streets dropping just a little bit back, unfortunately. Williams absolutely on his brilliant best with Josh Papworth in the passenger seat. Of course, Josh hasn't been at a FAB-Racing event since 2017. He's jumped in. They've won 1 race already. And if they finish as they are, they'll take 2 out of 3, which is just phenomenal stuff from the 26 outfit. But don't let you take it away from the green streets. They obviously got pole position, winning race 1, and even survived a technical infringement after they were protested for having a GoPro on the sidecar, which they no longer have. They had to take it off, which is a shame, because I would have loved to have seen that footage of their race 1 victory. We're still following Mick Williams. Looks like they've actually got a little bit closer this lap, and indeed they have. It's only 1.5 seconds now instead of nearly 2. So they've actually almost matched the pace, and they actually were slightly faster on that last lap, matching Williams' best time. So green streets, with 3 laps left to go on the clock, maybe the bike's starting to come a little bit to them. Maybe they just got their heads down, they've regrouped, and now it's back to maximum attack for the number 90.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it. It certainly seems like they're on the pace, but so is McWilliams. McWilliams, it's so hard to crack right now, so now we just have to wait and see. But right now we're just waiting to see, with just 3 laps to go in this race. And now the number 90 green streets come through our picture, and in some ways Josh Papworth is like George Russell in F1 if you follow car racing. Although it's a bike racing series, we love motorsport, and he's the perfect stand-in, and so far this weekend he has been the perfect stand-in. 1 race win so far. Will he convert it into a second? We'll have to wait and find out, and we're only going to have to wait about just under 2 laps now as the green streets bounce their way through the curbs and bounce their way out of the curbs and bounce their way to try and find some time from McWilliams, who look like they're on rails.
Yeah, slightly extending the gap again that time, the number 26 machine. It has been brilliant, brilliant, brilliant from them this race. Even, you know, with the woes, they didn't really do much practice on Friday. The first session they went out and did was qualifying 1. And they've gone out there, you know, with Josh Papworth on it, and, you know, they're about to win 2 races, unless the disaster or the Green Streets discover a pace of about 2 seconds a lap faster than anybody else, which I don't think is quite viable. The 26 heading down the back stretch and rounding the final corner with 1 to go. Last lap flag will be waving. Chris MP on the 4.57, still holding on to 3rd place, and Mark Parker doing the rounds on the 2.30 in P4. Of course, obviously we lost Vince Bailey, unfortunately, with John Hosker and the 666 Keatsmobile not starting the race. But it is that number 26 who once again has surprised us all for the 2nd time and probably last time in history, as they seem on course to take a fantastic victory. I mean, this is just unbelievable. I said their race 2 victory was, you know, the most amazing victory I've ever seen from the number 26. Scrap that, it's this one, because they've had to fight for it as well. And with only a few straights left to go, it is amazing. You come to Llandow, it's the 2nd time you go this season. You've got a new passenger, you don't do many practice sessions, you're running your spare engine from 2007, and you've still won 2 races out of 2. Mick Williams rounds the final corner for a spectacular victory in race 3 of the Mini F1 sidecars, and that is superb stuff.
Yeah, it certainly was. Mick Williams dominant for the last 2 races. Green Streets got their victory yesterday, but just couldn't find the added pace today. Very disappointing from Vince Bailey once again, only making it a couple of meters, 5-10 meters before the bike cut out on them. But once again, it's all eyes on Mick Williams. It's all eyes on the championship leaders, the reigning champions for multiple years. It's Mick Williams. They once again, he's still got it, even with a different passenger, he's still got it. It's pure class and it's pure passion for racing that these guys are here and that these guys are able to produce such great racing for us. But Mick Williams wins the race by 1.8 seconds over Jason Greenstreet. Chris MP rounds off our podium, Mark Parker comes home in 4th, and Vince Bailey sadly can only reach a couple of meters after the start of the race, so disappointing once again for them. But they're back again at Rowra, and it's going to be superb action like we've seen this round again.
Time then for some senior mini moto action once again. Race 3 of the senior mini motos getting ready to go racing. The riders just forming up on the dummy grid for the final time. And just a quick note about Shannon King. Of course, Shannon having a huge high side in race 2. She won't be competing in this race. She is all okay, but she's been ruled out. And she says that, quote unquote, she's very disappointed not to be racing. She wishes she was, but she'll be back in full force at Rowra on the 17th and 18th of September for round 7 of the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship. Not long now till the end of the season. It's crunch time, and it is crunch time in the senior mini motos as well. Will Howarth has got it all up against him. Matt Birkin and Josh Birkin have been rapid this weekend. And Craig Ashell as well, looking pretty pacey. And let's not count out Holly Harris. She may not be with the front runners in the championship, but coming off a 3rd on the grid. She's been strong in both races so far, and she could be one to watch out for in the final race. It's Josh Birkin going from pole position with Craig Ashell alongside him. Holly Harris starts from P3 with Will Howarth in P4. Matt Birkin is 5th with Chris Yeomans alongside him. The 4th row is Rhys Gentry and Nick Bennett, with David Myatt and Callum White rounding out the top 10. Shannon King, of course, will be starting 11, but she's too disappointed to be here. Lamar Morgan starts from 12th with Mark Payne 13th, Keaton Payne 14th, Ross Michael P15, Alberto Vanteo 16th, Robert Kitley 17th, Rob Gentry 18th, and Duncan Diper rounding out your senior mini motos grid for the final time. We've had 2 brilliant, well, 1.5 brilliant races, if we're including the red flag in race 2. It's been awesome mini moto action, as always with these senior guys, Lewis. And, well, what can we expect in race 3?
Yeah, we expect the unexpected with senior mini moto racing, because last race, Josh Birkin and Craig Ashell and Will Howarth went at it. It was great to see. Josh Birkin's lost the front actually and hit into Will Howarth, so somehow they both stayed on before the red flag came out and sadly ended the race early. But we're expecting to see great things for race 3 for the final race of the weekend for these guys and for the senior mini moto class. It's elbow to elbow racing. It's basically training paint. A little wave up to the commentary box goes Josh Perkins. Big men and girls and little bikes. So now we wait for the point to the lights, and then we can get underway for the final race of the weekend. The lights are on and the lights are off, and Josh Birkin makes an awesome start. Craig Ashall dropping down the order. Holly Harris looking to slot into third position right now. Will Howard in that second place. It looks like Yeomans has made it up into fourth. The other Birkin in fifth right now, and Rhys Gentry making it up for the order. Rhys Gentry starting from seventh, making it up to sixth, one position on the line, and Holly Harris straight away getting overtaken by Matt Birkin on his old but new levers, and now Holly Harris having to defend from Yeomans once again. But it's Josh Birkins up front right now in that race lead, defending from Will Howarth. Will Howarth, though, we've seen how strong he was in the Moto team earlier on, and we know that he has the pace, as Matt Birkin has already caught up to the top two.
Matt Birkin with an insane move on Holly Harris around the outside of 30s. That is one of the best we've seen all day, and maybe not quite another move there by Will Howarth to try and look for the lead, but it's Josh Birkin holding firm. But now here goes Will Howarth, has a look to the inside but can't quite make it, and the front three once again, nothing to separate them with 8 laps left to go. It's Birkin, Howarth, Birkin as we come through the opening section. Holly Harris dropping a little bit further back but leading the trailing pack in P4. Oh, and a mistake. I think that Josh Birkin actually just lost the front and managed to save it, but through goes Howarth and Matt Birkin. Josh Birkin drops back, and there goes Matt Birkin to the lead up the inside of Chandler's. This is brilliant stuff here, swapping places left, right and centre. Matt Birkin to the lead, Will Howarth back down to second, and Josh Birkin somehow still on the bike in P3.
Certainly, and 8 laps to go in this race. There's a rider down there, but going up to their feet it seems, as all the riders head down to the final corner to head to the line to make it just 7 laps to go in this race. It looks like Will Howarth's line out of the final corner is far, far superior. You can just see how much ground he is making. He takes a far wider exit and is on the tyre for, well, a lot longer, to be honest. But that lets the revs stay up a lot longer with these larger riders and a lot more weight on the bike. It stops it from bogging down, and it keeps the revs high, as Will Howarth has high hopes of taking the race lead. He tries to dive down the inside, looks down the inside now. It's so tricky, it's so bumpy, but he makes it work, and he makes it work into first place. But can he convert it into a race win? Because Matt Birkin has something to say about that by taking the race lead back. We head towards the hangar straight, and Will Howarth on the flip-flop wants to take it back, but he can't. Will that affect his drive onto the straight? It doesn't look like it, actually. Will Howarth's drive out this final corner is far, far better than Matt Birkin. We'll have to wait and see towards the first corner. Will they be side by side? Not yet, but everything's heating up. The number 96 and the number 5 are going at it.
Matt Birkin still in the lead of this race. Somehow, Josh Birkin dropping a little bit away from this lead battle. So it's now Matt versus Will for the lead of the race with 6 laps to go. With the crowd watching on fervently. And as the action kicks off here in race 3 of the senior mini motos, and action all throughout the pack as well. Moves left, right and centre, and a move there for the lead of the race by Will Howarth at the exit of Chalmers and on the run into the Dell. A beautiful move there to take the lead of the race. But Matt Birkin, we know what he's like. He's a win it or bin it character. And well, right now, he wants to win it. Looking to the inside, on the brakes, into the final hairpin. Superb stuff from Matt Birkin back through Will Howarth. Oh, he blocks him, or he tries to block him, but Will Howarth still the superior run. He'll have the inside line into turn 1. He'll have the lead into turn 1. This is excellent racing. And while they're fighting, Josh Birkin might be coming back into this battle. So with 5 to go, it's anybody's guess who could be in the front of this race.
Yeah, it is, and there's only 5 laps to go, so the clock is ticking down, the laps are coming down, and Matt Birkin is opportunity. Oh! Big high side there from Will Howarth, but it looks like that may hand Matt Birkin the race when we look further down the pack to the 1-2-9 and round the final corner now, and that is Duncan Diaper in the picture, but red flag right now, so we're just, all riders will come to a stop in race 3, and there was 5 laps to go.
Oh, that was a nasty, nasty high side there for Will Howarth. Hopefully he's all okay, but we'll have to wait and see as we get ready and waiting. Red flag out here with a great battle for the lead, but as all the riders come to a stop, it's, well, interesting to see. And, well, a few of the riders obviously coming to a stop, just having some conversations. This is the second red flag we've had today in the senior mini motos, of course. Race 2, also a high side leading to a red flag. Hopefully Will Howarth is okay. That is not a sight that you particularly want to see. Matt Birkin will, of course, now be in the lead of the race, getting a wave to the camera from some of the riders stopped down at the final hairpin. It was a great race until the incident, and hopefully everyone is all okay. Will Howarth has had a great weekend, and having a big accident is not the way that he wants to end it, I'm sure. But hopefully he'll be up on his feet in a moment's time. But until then, we just have to sit and wait patiently for the paramedics to do their thing, make sure everyone is all okay, clear the bike out of the way, and then we'll have to come back and start racing again. And go off from the grid again, which of course creates even more chaos because all the places that you've been fighting for and sorted, it's, well, all gone pretty mental. It's very, very close indeed, having gone out there. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen.
Yeah, we certainly are. And now the riders are just in the corner area right now, just having a little chat. But what a great race that was. And in the commentary box, joining me once again this weekend is Sullivan Mountsees. Sullivan, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
And this weekend in the Extreme 200s, back on the Moto 4 bike, how has it been in your opinion?
Well, it's been a tough weekend. It's quite a hard bike, the 17-inch wheel bike, especially around these go-kart tracks. It's just higher, harder to turn, harder to lean over, whereas Evan and Philip on their 12-inch bikes can just flip it left and right quickly. So it's been a tough work, but I was able to stay with Philip in the race, and I did actually end up beating him, but it was tough. But at the end of the day, it's only helping me progress further towards my Moto 3.
And your crash this morning in warm-up, how are you after that? How's the bike? Was it just simply a brake lever that broke, or a gear lever that broke, or what happened?
Yeah, so my gear shifter, the rod which connects it to the gearbox, snapped, which allowed me not to be able to restart, which was quite frustrating. And then in the race, I just lost the rear because the engine didn't come back in because of the engine braking. Which really, if we had Gary Wilson here that does Wilson Racing, then he'd be like, all right, let's whip off some engine braking. But this time he's not here, sadly. So my dad done a good job, but it's just a bit frustrating.
So obviously it's been great conditions all weekend here at Llandow. We're expecting some rain. You said to us at the start of the weekend you weren't wanting any rain, to be honest, because your rain tyres were destroyed.
Yeah. So just... That's why we didn't even go out in Q1, because it was just so bad, and if it was going to rain, we were just going to probably go home because it was too dangerous, and we don't want to really injure myself too much more because I've had a couple big crashes recently, but yeah, it's going all right now. Lovely weather, and I'm quite excited for this 70 races. Luke's been up there, and Henry, he's really determined this race. I was talking to him earlier, and he's fired up, ready to go, but he's doing everything right. He needs to get that difference between him and Ethan, because Ethan keeps on putting the exact same move on him, and he just needs to get in his head that Ethan's going to do it, so he needs to break it even later and just try and see if Ethan will try and do up his inside, and he'll actually go deep, and as soon as that happens, he'll know what to do.
Yeah, and we also seen in that race, Henry McCartney looked so strong through that first sector, especially for the first chicane, really. I mean, just as we flipped over to the left, Henry McCartney manages to get in the inside almost every single lap.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's just he's got a bit more weight, so it's good, better at transition, but a bit slower down the straight. So that's a bit annoying.
Yeah, so now I've been told in my ear that it'll be a 6-lap restart for the senior mini moto race, as there wasn't enough laps done to call it as a result. But we're just waiting for this restart to get underway. But obviously you were racing at Thruxton a couple of weeks ago. Hotter conditions than this, believe it or not. How did that go for you?
Quite bad, to be honest. It's one of them weekends where I've just got to move on and go again. But I've never been a fan of the track, but I've spoke to a couple of people and they've helped me get into the mindset of don't go into a track thinking, oh, this isn't my strongest track. For instance, I haven't always had the best weekends at Snet, or I've always had a problem, but this weekend I'm going to try and go for the win, but it's going to be a big leap to get that win, but I'm going to give it a go.
And what do you think right now is separating you from getting that win? Do you think maybe it's just something you need to work on with the track itself, or with your setup on the bike, or with your approach to the weekend?
I think I need to approach the weekend more better with my mindset. Track preparation, track maps and all of that, I'm perfect at that, I think, for now. But it's just what I want to do is I want to aim to go out at the start and just go out 100%, and I'll be on pretty much lap record pace straight away because I've been there before. So that's my plan for Snetterton. But I think I need to get back to my old ways, as my mindset changed a little bit from Donington and Knockhill, which got me in a little bit of a bad spiral period. But I'm going to hopefully be coming back for Snetterton. I feel much better now than I was kind of Brands and Thruxton. As MotoGP, it felt good, but I did have that little tip-off, which probably didn't help. But this weekend's just helped me get a little bit better. So, yeah.
Do you think maybe, with the season so far, you've had quite mixed conditions. You've had scorching days at Thruxton, and you've had some practice sessions, for example, at Knockhill, that was almost like a tsunami, to be honest. It was very, very wet. For the rest of the season, would you rather it having them dry races, or would you not mind a little wet race to go in there and mix things up?
I'm really good in the wet. If you didn't know, I was actually leading at Brands Hatch in the wet in I think it was qualifying or FP2, but I ended up not doing too good because it's ended up drying up.
Right, so now we are, these guys are heading towards the grid to get restarted. So now we're waiting for the riders to head back, and then we can get going again and get a good race, because these guys, big riders, little bikes. Do you think we could see you in one of these senior mini moto classes potentially for a laugh?
You know what? I'm going to give it to you guys. I'm going to be doing a wild card. Not sure when, but I'm going to do a factory wild card on the Wilson Racing 14mm mini moto that I came third in the championship on in 2018. This year, not sure when, but I'm going to give it a go on these guys on their rapid LCs, as I saw Will Howarth come out of the double apex left. He came out, just popped the wheelie and came back down naturally with a power wheelie. These guys, they're just insane, to be honest, but I'm going to give it a go and just try and not come last. Would you
race also in the Extreme 200 class on that weekend, or would you just put pure focus on the senior mini moto class?
If they're not too far apart, I might do both, but it depends what track it is, to be honest, because this track has been a real big struggle. But I might try and do two.
So now we're also being told no warm-up lap for this senior mini moto race, and now we're just going to get underway, and this will be the race start. Once Rob points to the lights, as he does, lights will go on, lights will go off, and then we'll go racing for the second start of the senior mini moto, guys. Point to the lights, and lights are on, lights are off, and it's Josh Birkin who makes an incredible start. Once again, Craig Ashell not be able to make a start that he wants. Chris Yeomans into that third place. Craig Ashell dropping down to fourth. Holly Harris currently in the middle of the pack in about sixth position right now. Reece Gentry fighting for that sixth position. It's a great clean start, and that's the most important thing in this senior mini moto class, is everyone's made it through the first corner, because these guys, they're so aggressive.
Yeah, they're quite big riders, and I remember doing an LC riding with them on my LC back when I used to race here. And literally, these guys are so hard on the brakes, so fast, literally pinning it through every corner. The bike's all over the place. They are on it.
And obviously, racing the British Talent Cup, so is Holly Harris. Two British Talent Cup riders would be racing in this class when you make your wildcard appearance on the Factory Wilson, as Matt Birkin takes the race lead. But what would your mindset be going into this? Would it just be getting into race wins, or would it be beating Holly Harris, beating another British Talent Cup rider in the senior class?
Well, I'm going to try. My aim is to have a go at Holly Harris, but I don't know, because they're all on LCs and I'll be on an air cord. So, you know what? I might just bring a bit of elbow down, sliding it around the corners, and we might be able to get away with it.
So a pure laugh, basically, in the senior class. That's what it's all about. Just some fun. Come here, rock up, put the bike at the van, and just have a laugh with some friends on track. And you've raced senior mini motos yourself. Well, no, you've raced mini motos yourself, and you've raced around Llandow. What is it like around this circuit, and what will these riders be feeling right now?
Well, I've only rode around this circuit twice. This time was my second time, but I ended up leading the championship here, so it's quite a good track. But you can see these guys are proper going at it. I don't think I was pushing this hard when I was on a mini moto for sure.
Yeah, Matt Birkin currently leads the way from his brother Josh, and Nick Bennett is in this leading group right now, and they're going at it, as you said, Sully. And you can see now Josh Birkin coming through his back sector now, having to rely so much on the front tyre. We've seen him actually lose the front multiple times this weekend in this sector, and it's so impressive to see these riders saving crashes on such small bikes.
Yeah, well, literally, you just lose the front and pick it straight back up, go straight back at it, and they've only lost one position in a second. But it's crazy how these guys can ride these bikes, like rapid bikes. I'm surprised they're not all over the place, really. But we've got Will Howard, I think he's leading the championship, and he would be battling with these guys right now, and these guys are look like they're all over the place, but that's just how hard these guys are riding these bikes.
Yeah, Will Howard right now, he's up on his feet. He may be up on his feet on the way back to the paddock. So that's great to hear from Will Howard. He's such a fast rider, as you said, Sullivan. It's amazing how he's racing both the senior mini moto class this weekend and the moto team, and he's still able to be so competitive like the Birkin brothers right now.
Yeah, it's just... They do put on some good battles, these guys. I remember one year at GYG when it was quite wet, and two of them crashed in their practice swimming over the line. It is quite funny, this class. I must say, it provides me a lot of entertainment while I wait. Yeah,
it provides everyone a lot of entertainment at home as well. And Josh Birkin follows Matt through, and it's friendly brotherly battles right now. It's great to see so many families getting involved in racing, taking part, and still having the same amount of aggression on track.
Yeah, exactly. The Harris brothers, they both race, and it's a shame because they've always been at one step ahead. But you've got Owen and Dylan Mellor, who used to race together, used to race together in Bemsey. But yeah, it's quite good that families are like racing and they're able to support their families, because I know, coming from me, it's quite hard to even ride in this, and as you go up, the money goes up, and the amount of sponsors we've had to have over the years to just support me to do this, it's crazy, even in this paddock. So you've just got to be so grateful to all your sponsors.
Yeah, Matt Birkins right now will be grateful for his race lead right now. It's been a commanding race so far. He's felt no pressure at all. And at the line, it was a 1.1 second gap to his brother Josh. And these guys just have to go around one more lap around this Llandow circuit in South Wales to get the victory of the final race for the Minimoto senior guys. It's been so impressive all weekend to watch this. No Will Howard in this restart after his crash, but he is up on his feet, which is great to hear, and I'm sure these guys will be so glad to hear that as well. But Matt Birkin right now, he's going to be so glad when he sees the checker flag. He's got in the final sector now, just has the hanger straight to go down. Then the final corner, the hairpin, it's so tight for these guys. It's so tough. It's been tough conditions all day. So sunny, so hot. But once again, Matt Birkin showing his class, and he wins. He takes the checker flag and race free. He pops a wheel, tries to, as his brother comes just behind Josh Birkin, takes that second place, and Nick Bennett rounds off that podium, and Holly Harrison, Rhys Gentry and Craig Ashall finish up their battle further down the order. Holly Harris finishing in 7th position, pretty respectable considering the battles that they face in this class. There's still battles going down in the further down the order.
Yeah, exactly. You can literally see Holly Harris and Craig. literally so close. It was 0.012 between the two of them. And this is exactly what it should be in racing. And this is proper racing at its top class. But yeah, you've got Matt Birkin in first place with Josh Birkin in second, then Nick Bennett in third, Chris Yeomans in fourth, Gentry in fifth, Ash Hall in sixth, Holly Harris in seventh, Payne in eighth, White in ninth, and Mayat in 10th. So that was a proper good race, and might have to start watching this a bit more.
Yeah, everyone should. It's great racing every single weekend for the senior mini moto guys. And it's been a great day of racing in general. Great conditions for these guys. It's basically perfect conditions for racing a motorbike.
Yeah, I love these conditions. Does show how fit you have to be. But look, I'm quite lucky because of how long the BTC races are. I'm quite good for this, but you don't understand how much water I have to drink per day just so I'm still got a bit of water in me, because I've started to sweat quite a bit now, especially in that last race.
And how much preparation do you have to put in physically for these races?
Yeah, so I do quite a bit of cycling. I've been quite busy this week, so I've only done I've done 2 cycles this week. But yeah, I've been going to the gym twice this week, and then I had 2 days off coming up here on Thursday and Friday. But as soon as you get out this paddock, it's crazy. And these guys here, like literally on their metric kits, I know they still do a lot of cycling. Ronnie and Luke and Henry and Ollie, and they're all literally going on it, cycling, doing their fitness, and it's good because I wasn't even like that.
Yeah, so next up we'll have the Premier Class, we'll have the Mini GP 70 British Championship. And yeah, so race free for these guys, and it's sunny conditions. It's going to be a dramatic finale for the weekend. And we've seen it earlier on in race 2. Ethan Sparks couldn't make a good start and bogged down really off the line until he popped a massive wheelie and dropped back 3 or 4 positions.
Yeah, well, I spoke to him, and it literally, he didn't even go into gear.
So he's in neutral off the line?
Yeah, literally went into neutral, and he thought it was in first, and he let out the clutch, it didn't go, so he had to pop it and go, and it was kind of a rushy start, which probably was quite frustrating.
Well, off the line, we have Ethan Sparks starting in pole position with Henry McCartney alongside him. Samuel Munson, who had a DNS last race with his chain coming off, will be starting third with Luke Fitchett alongside him. Luke Fitchett been going so well in the Mini GP 50 this weekend. Ronnie Harris, sadly a non-starter today, should have been starting in 5th, with Ruben Bray in 6th. Noah Gilroy was starting 7th with Ollie Sims alongside them, and Harry Payne making his return. And Samuel Munson once again having issues, it looks even with the chain once again on that bike.
I don't know what it is, but that must be very frustrating for him. I'd be quite annoyed, but I see he's keeping his cool and just quite annoying.
Yeah, chain again. You can just see it lying on the ground now. He's trying to get put back in with his hands, but that's near impossible at this stage with gloves on. Standing at the side of the track, nerves are building, so it doesn't look like he's going to make the start of this race.
Yeah, it's quite frustrating, I bet, for him, because he can't really do too much.
It looks like he's getting some help now from a parent or from a marshal to try. Yeah, from a marshal to try and get the chain back on, but I don't know if he'll be able to get back on in time. There's a slight delay for the start of the race to see if we can get Munson on the grid for the final race. It'd be so great to have him because he's been looking so good the past couple of rounds.
Yeah, he is in 3rd actually on the grid, so it's probably quite annoying for him because he might have been able to try and battle with the top 2, but I don't think that he's going to be able to do it, which is quite frustrating. Yeah,
it doesn't look like they have any hope right now. Maybe, but they're trying to get the bike started. The bike's still running, obviously, but it's just in neutral at the moment with the chain off. And the chain's back on, actually. The Marshall and Munson have worked together and got the chain back on. Oh, it's off again. Oh, yeah, he's gave up. You can hear him screaming, actually, through the camera. So disappointing.
Oh, very annoying for him, but he's quite annoying. He's quite upset, but we can tell that's a bit annoying. Yeah,
it's so frustrating for him, but these bikes are sitting on the grid right now. Tires are getting slightly colder, brakes are getting slightly colder, and the bikes in these hot conditions, they don't like to be standing still for too long. these two-stroke motors. They don't like overheating for sure. So Samuel Munson walks off away from the bike, leaves the bike stranded with one of the parents. The parents still trying to put the chain back on, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get started. Yeah, the bike getting pushed off. So we might have another delay to the start, but we're waiting to see what's going to happen at the start of this race. Final race of the day and final race for the Mini GP, guys. We've left the best to last, but we're going to wait for a point to the lights to hopefully get underway for the final race for the Mini GP 70 British Championship, sponsored by LS2. Rob at the front of the grid. Final checks being done on the grid. Bikes revving, riders are revved up now. The point to the lights is done. We wait for the lights to come on. The lights are on and the lights are off, and Ethan Sparks makes a great start this time around. Henry McCartney, though, has the inside line for turn 1 but cannot make it work. Luke Fitchett in third place in that final podium position. Ollie Sims battling with Ruben Bray right now, and Noah Gilray up into 4th place.
Yes, lovely, man. Henry just put a lovely move on Ethan, but Luke needs to start putting moves on Ethan and stay with them because they're just getting that edge on him, but Henry's going for this win.
Yeah, Henry's going for the race when he really wants it. Ethan Sparks dives down the inside. It's so great to see, even at round 2, it was like a Moto 3 race as Henry McCartney once again dives down the inside. This is why we go racing. It's so close, it's so fast, and they're so talented at such a young age, but he's great on the brakes here as Ethan Sparks. He dives down the inside onto the new patch of track and takes race lead, but once again, McCartney with the inside line cannot make it work, cannot get the drive.
Yeah, Henry is pushing for the, so he knows he needs to do it, and he's literally putting every opportunity up the inside of Ethan, and that's a perfect mentality.
Yeah, right now though, Henry McCartney diving down the inside, a massive smile goes on both our faces at the commentary box. This is great to see. It's great to see such young talents and such fast motorbikes around these kart tracks, and so close as Ethan Sparks dives down the inside once again, takes the race lead. Luke Fitchett though is there in that third as Henry McCartney so fast through that chicane, and he manages to make up so much time, but then we come down the back straight towards this hairpin as Ethan Sparks, who's a master on the brakes, and there is that move once again, taking the race lead from McCartney. And now Luke Fitchett is battling for that second and into 2nd place.
Yeah, well, hopefully Luke will start putting moves on Ethan, because if he doesn't, then it's going to be tight. But Henry literally probably tries to do it up the inside Luke, and he's not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, it caused Luke Fitchett to basically lean on the side of his bike, basically. They were basically touching at that point. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some tyre marks left on Luke Fitchett's levers, but Henry McCartney, he's going to make up time through this final sector on them. He's going to be right bunched up. But the real question is, will Sparks now get into a rhythm and start to disappear?
Yeah, Luke needs to start putting moves on him. He's got to try and outbrake him into, or Henry's got to start putting moves on Luke to try and keep that gap, because as soon as Ethan goes, he's gone.
Yeah, Ethan Sparks so impressive through this final corner, but Luke Fitchett is not bad on the brakes himself. He's not bad at defending either. It's so impressive what he's done this weekend on the Mini GP 50 and then getting podiums on the 70. Ethan Sparks, though, leads the way. 9 laps to go in this race. They go past so quick. You've raced these bikes yourself, and in this group battle right now, if you were the likes of Henry McCartney, what is your game plan?
I would be putting a move on Luke every time, so it looks like Ethan's just going to get that little gap on Luke, and as soon as Ethan's gone, he's gone. And I think Henry knows that, which is why he tried putting so many moves on Ethan, but Luke's looking quite strong, and I was talking to him. He was actually going to do LCs and 50s this season, so we spoke to him, me and my dad, and we said we maybe think you should do 70s, and he'd done 70s and he's gone out and blitzed it, so it's even better for him. And I'm quite surprised he's doing so well, but everything is so perfect.
Yeah, there's been a crash. Ruben Bray, a crash there, and what was going to be a great race has caused a red flag now. So red flag conditions for these riders after a crash going on to the straight. So all riders will come to a stop, and with 8 laps to go, the race will hopefully be restarted. So now all these riders, including Ethan Sparks, will just have to collect themselves and just keep calm. But this will also give Henry McCartney a chance again.
Yeah, Henry knows. He knows exactly what he's got to do. Him and Luke need to start to work together, but Ruben's looking quite injured. He's a nice lad as well, so I hope he's okay.
Yeah, these riders now discussing with each other, and you've been in these sort of conditions, and what would you necessarily be speaking to your other riders about at this moment?
Right now, I'd be talking to Henry if I was Luke, or Henry was like, they need to try and talk together and listen to say that they need to work together to get Ethan, because right now Ethan's going to try and do a runaway, I think. But yeah, they're doing all right. Just Henry knows he needs to hold him back.
Yeah, so right now, it was a great race up to that point. We see almost a Moto freestyle race forming, to be honest. Ethan Sparks looked just to edge away the past couple of laps once he got let free, but it really is going to be a question of the start once again, because there's going to be less laps now with the restart, I assume. So it's going to be a full attack mode from lap 1 when we get restarted.
Yeah, exactly. And there's Ronnie there looking, watching his teammates, and he's probably going to be collecting a little bit of data, I bet. But yeah, Ronnie's a lovely lad. He had an unfortunate crash where his gearbox wasn't selecting gears, and then it eventually did, and it just flicked him off. It's a bit annoying.
Yeah, so obviously Ronnie Harris gets that wild card that he's been long deserving at Snetterton, and he'll be joining you on the grid. Obviously, will you be giving him any words of advice yourself? Obviously, you speak to him in this pilot, but he's our competitors in the British Talent Cup.
I really do like Ronnie. I like the way he is. He's a lovely lad. And in my first half season in 2016 at Mallory Park, we got him into racing, him and his brother. He's a lovely lad, so I will be maybe giving him a turn, see how he goes in FP1. And I'll be like, right, okay, Ronnie, here you go. Well, no, sorry, Ronnie, mate, you're going to be battling me this weekend. But I've got quite high hopes for him. I think he'll do quite well. He's only rode the bike for 1 lap at Mallory Park, which is nothing. So I think he's going to do quite well. He's quite a smart rider, and I do like his mentality as well. But yeah, he was talking to me about it earlier at Snetterton, and yeah, I think he's going to do all right.
And as Snetterton, as a track on the British Talent Cup bike, is it one of those tracks that you would probably want to have your first race weekend on?
No. I like Donington Park and Silverstone. I think Silverstone National, I'd say, is the best track because it's quite basic, but it's quite easy to learn, and whenever you go there, you can always see that, like, top 15 are battling for first, and it's so close, a bit like Thruxton. But with Thruxton, as soon as one person makes a big move and you go wide, then that's it, the pack's gone, because that is what was happening to me. As soon as I lost it, it was just a bit annoying because I lost the toe and then they were gone.
Yeah, and Ribbon Braid's up on his feet now, which is a great sign to see. And it's great he's up on his feet and okay, so yeah, great work from the marshals and from all the officials and medics that we have here at Llandow, doing a superb job as usual, because of course, Solly, you know yourself, without them we can't go racing.
Yeah, exactly. They always do a lovely job, and it might seem a bit exaggerated, but at the end of the day, these are some big crashes, and the marshals only do their job, and they always do it to perfection. So we're quite good that they've been able to check them out, and we see Ruben pretty much walking all right. So it just shows that they've done a proper check, and now they're actually checking the track to see if there's any bits on it for Ruben or any problems, so it's safe to ride.
Yeah, and Ruben Braid maybe just a bit winded after crashing going onto the back straight, but well, it sounds like it's going to be the restart. It's going to be 1 warm-up lap and 8 racing laps. So 8 laps. Is that just full attack mode, or would you maybe just go something similar to the original distance that we were meant to get, which was meant to be 12?
So I would personally go full attack mode. Henry, I think he's going to have tyre because his tyres last quite long. And I think he's just going to go full attack mode, go for that and just try and get ahead of Ethan. And I think if Luke can follow Henry through, then that will just buff up Ethan's ribbon. Sorry, I can't speak right now. Riven. And yeah, I think Ethan's a man to beat this weekend in 70s.
Yeah, so now we are just waiting. And I've just been told in my ears that Samuel Munson can take the restart if the bike is in a fit shape and has a chain on it that wants to stay on it. But we're going to have to wait and find out. Hopefully, Samuel Munson can get back out for this restart race, because it would be so great to see him get a good result this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. I hope they've actually gone and tried to fix the problem, but I wouldn't be surprised if they just left it, because it seems like it's the last race. But they might try and fix something for it and tighten up the wheel. But if I'm correct in saying, I've just seen him riding down to the grid, which is perfect because hopefully this will give him a chance and might help out Henry and Luke, but it might make it worse. We'll see, but it'll add a bit more drama, I can make sure for that.
Yeah, it's going to be great to see. It's going to be great to see what is going to happen here in the Mini GP 70 race. The last race of the day and the last race of the weekend for these guys, of course, but it's going to be high drama all race, and it's going to be so competitive. This season's been so competitive. Ethan Sparks is leading the championship once again, but we're at round 6 now round 6 of round 8 of 8 rounds. So if you're Ethan Sparks, you're just giving it a red flag and you're in a high intense battle in an 8-lap race where people are going to go all out. Would you maybe think about the championship and maybe be a bit reluctant on wanting to push to that 110% mark, or will it just be full out maximum points at this stage of the season?
It depends where you are in the championship. If you're doing an Ethan, I might take it a little bit steady on this race, but it depends how they feel. If I was in Ethan's position when I was his age, I would have taken it easy, but knowing me now, it's 100% every race, and that's just how I ride now, and that's why I do crash and warm up, because it's a little bit slippy when you come back for the inside curb, and I just clipped the inside curb and lost the front in warm up. But you can just see these guys doing Luke doing his tuck in first gear, but he's just preparing, exciting, and I think their adrenaline's going to be going. I'm pretty sure they're going to have hopefully have enough fuel, but I'm pretty sure they will.
Yes, right now they're heading back into the holding area before they head back out. As we wait, as Rossi Banham actually sits on Samuel Munson's bike to keep it in place for him, while Samuel Munson gets some shade before the race starts. So Samuel Munson racing in the 70s and the pit bike 140s this weekend, so he's had to race 2 races back to back. Have you ever had to experience something like that, having to do 2 races in a row?
Yeah, I have actually. I think we'd done it one time with B&B, but it was horrible because I tell you, the fitness. But yeah, he's good really. He's doing really well, and I'm quite surprised he's doing quite good because it's tough, especially in this heat. Yeah,
and obviously, if you're racing 2 classes in a row, you have to take just a couple of laps to maybe get your mind back into this mindset of a 70 rider or of a pit bike 140 rider, because it's completely different bikes and chassis, and the racing is completely different.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's good. I like how these guys think. I like how they work, and yeah, I'd say I think everyone's goal for this season to beat right now is Ethan right now, because he is just topping everything so far in the 2 races this weekend. So that's who everyone, I bet, is their rival. But my rival back when I used to ride was Johnny Garness and Mason Foster. I always did have a little bit of a disadvantage because of my weight, but it's only gone and helped me push harder later on in the stage, and right now it looks like they're actually fueling up and cooling off, because as I thought, it looks like they're probably not going to have enough fuel for the race. So it's just it's tough, especially because I've always been a bit behind everyone, because Casey O'Gorman, Evan Belford, Ollie Walker, Ryan Hitchcock, they've always been 2-3 steps ahead of me. When I was on a mini moto, you've got Carl Payne went from rookie straight to a Metric Kit 50, so he already had a year or 2 years on me, and then I had to try and catch up, which I probably learned quite a bit in the pros, but it was still very frustrating, and especially in the Metric Kits, because I was never always, my dad didn't know too much about the bikes, so we never always had a fast bike. But it's all about racecraft, and a couple people like Marco in the 50s, he's got quite a slow 50 and he shows how hard he's pushing. Same with Bill Harris, he's not got the best one out of everyone, but it's all good. Like, these guys, they're at the top performance at their age range in this class right now in England, and you can just see they're really nice lads. And if you go and meet some, and if any of you guys want to come up to any of the rounds, it's really nice to see them, because they're all quite welcoming and always say hello.
Yeah, great community spirit here at FAB, and in bike racing in general, really, it's such a friendly spirit. Everyone likes to help each other, but yeah, it's great to see, and it's great to see these riders just having a minute just to cool down. And with obviously these mini GP70s, with it being race bikes, how, if you can remember racing on these back a couple of years ago, how tight are these on fuel?
Yeah, so the tanks actually aren't. When you look at the tank, you're like, oh right, that looks quite big, but they do suck a bit of fuel out of the bike. So that's why they're kind of all fueling up. And as you can see, Luke Fitchett's got tyre warmers on, which I think's a smart way to go for this, because the tyres might just get a little bit nippy, and as soon as that happens, you can just go whoosh straight in turn one, and that's the end of your race weekend.
Yeah, and these guys right now just taking a moment to cool off, as we've already said. Some of them opting for tyre warmers and opting for a safer route with keeping the tyres nice and warm. These guys are running slick tyres in this class, and you really have to just get these tyres nice and warm before you get them, before you get any grip. Otherwise, it's just like riding on an ice rink, really, using slick tyres.
Yeah, exactly. And just shows, because some people can do it, just go out on slick tyres on a practice day, but these tyre warmers are quite a vital part in today's racing. So it's good that they've got tyre warmers, they've got all the people backing them, and you've got quite a few people now that you've got battling at the front, especially at Lid. At the start of the year, they were all battling. Like, there was like 5 of them, and I think it's 2021. I tried to do a wild card there, but these guys, they're fast now, and not even I can push to my limit. And at Elau Park, when I rode with Casey O'Gorman last year, on the Metrokit 70, I was literally just overriding the bike. But yeah, these just shows that even me, a British Talent Cup rider, just still can't keep up with these guys. It's just so good now. Their levels increase so much.
Yeah, you mentioned some riders jumping up from, making quite significant jumps in classes at such a young age. And obviously, Ethan Sparks is only 11-year-old right now, and the age limit has been put up on the ACU license. So how would you spend your next couple of years after you've already won a Mini GP70 championship, and it's looking like he has a chance to do it again this year?
Yeah, I think it'd be perfect for him to just go 2 wins back-to-back, so that just shows he's dominant in the class. But everyone in this class has all stepped up, because all he's doing is he's then bringing on more riders. Because I'd say a couple riders are going to try and go out to Spain for next year, because Ethan's going to he's hit a limit now in the 70s, and he's probably now going to just have to go out to Spain, or try and, if there's going to be a 17-inch wheel class, hopefully he might do something here in FAB on a 17-inch wheel bike like me. But at the end of the day, it's quite hard to ride 17-inch wheel bikes that aren't Moto 3s in the age limit. So it's just quite frustrating. But these guys are still able to keep up with the Spanish when, for instance, Marco and Blake out in Spain at Cunha, they're doing all right.
Yeah, and what's been... Well, you can see right now riders messing about in the holding area right now. At this point, as we get a massive wave from Samuel Munson, at this point, during the red flag period, would you be messing about, maybe just taking your mind off the race and off a serious situation, or would you be still pure focus towards a restart?
Right now, personally speaking, I'd be like Luke, who, as you can see just behind Harry Payne, is just chilling and relaxing and sitting down, as that's how I would do it. But some riders it helps them take the pressure off, and it helps them concentrate better if they're just going and just focusing on themselves and messing about with their friends. It's 2 different ways people ride, but I'm more focused like Luke. I probably have a track map in BTC, but right now these guys are doing proper.
Yeah, and right now we're getting told that Harry Payne's bike is actually back into the paddock, so maybe refueling there, maybe some sort of issue, or maybe even putting us on some tyre warmers. We're going to have to wait and see. We can see it from our commentary box up here, so we'll keep you updated on that. But Harry Payne's still down there in the holding area, so still clearly planning on making the restart and making the race.
Yeah, I think they're just getting a bit more heat into their tyres, because as soon as they get a bit bad or a bit cold, then it will start to go a bit slippy, and we don't really want to see crashes. We want to see the motor-free battles that we were seeing, and they always can provide good battles, these guys. But yeah, I think Luke Fitchett's got tyre warmers on, but and Harry Payne is putting his on now. But everyone else, it looks like I think they're confident with how their tyres will be.
Yeah, it's quite a warm track surface and quite a warm day right now, but obviously you've been in situations like this before, and you've been racing for quite a long time, and in the British Talent Cup you use slick tyres yourself, so you coming from bikes that, for example, use the treaded tyres, is there any much of a difference when slick tyres are hot? Is there anything you need to get used to in the feeling of the bike, transforming from the treaded normal tyres that you may see similar to road bikes or slicks?
Yeah, so it's quite a tough one, really. I've only ever done it on a mini moto with the juniors and then the slicks, the softs, and the slicks are just able to carry a bit more heat, and I feel like I can push harder and push to a further limit, and I'm able to get better traction, and they don't overheat as much. But it's quite good, really, because they used to use Mitas tyres, where they were pushing I had to push quite hard, and they just overheated a bit easier. So now they're using PMTs, and it's just giving them a bit more grip and able to push a bit harder.
And on the topic of tyres, going to the BTC, how many roughly tyres sets do you go for a weekend? And on the technical side of things, how important is it to set up your bike in the British Talent Cup with racing being so close and everyone practically being on an identical bike?
Yeah, so it's quite hard, really. We only do 2 sets of tyres, 3 sets of tyres per weekend, but you've got some people that throw in 5 sets of tyres every session, which we can't really do, and that's just one of them things, but I'm able to work with it, and it's going good.
Yeah, and well, on these mini GP70 bikes, is there much you have to do with the bike itself, such as suspension, or is it more just put in some tyres and just go out there and do laps?
Yes, we used to use BG Motorsport Olin suspension for my Metro kit, and that worked perfectly for me, because we run YSS rear shock and the Metro kit front forks, and they just work perfectly because I'd always set them up perfectly, and they're up in Silverstone, so they know what they're doing. They're at BSB as well, so they are quite experienced, and it's helped me quite a bit. And a lot of these guys have now got some suspension guys working on their bikes, so they've always got a good feel.
Yeah, now it looks like we should hopefully be getting underway pretty soon. Now bikes are starting to get bump started, and hopefully we can get going again for some action. Helmets are on, game faces are now on, and bikes are getting ready to head out. But of course, I'm joined still by Sylvan Mancy, joining me during the red flag with the senior mini motos, and then the senior mini moto race, and now the first race of, well, the mini GP70, and now we're here for the second restart, the second time running of this race free. So let's see what's going to happen. It should be a very, very entertaining race. And now the real question is going to be, with these 2 warm-up laps, also, it's going to give the time for people who didn't run the tyre warmers down there to get heat into the tyres, and it's going to see if Samuel Munson can make the start of this race.
Yeah, well, they're fiddling with his bike. Something must have been wrong with his tank or something, but it looks like he's going now, and Harry Payne's bike's out there, so it's good that he is restarting.
Yeah, it's great seeing Harry Payne here, of course, after such a massive crash that he faced here at the circuit for round 2. Obviously it was a massive incident for him, so as a rider, I'm riding myself, but as a high performance rider and wanting to make a career after this, would it be something that you just have to put to the back of your mind straight away? Or and someone's actually Samuel Munson being pulled off the grid, actually. So Samuel Munson doesn't look like he's going to make a restart. They're looking down at the chain once again. Chains came off the bike once again, so it's so frustrating. I think this is the 3rd or 4th time that this has happened.
Yeah, I feel it for him. Literally, it's quite annoying, I bet, for him. But He's keeping a cool head now, and hopefully he might be able to start at the back of the grid, but I hope he can get it fixed for this race, because he's just had quite an unlucky 2 races. But yeah, I think they're going to try and get it going again. I don't know what it is, too tight of a chain, too loose or something like that, but it'd be good for him if he can just get it going.
Yeah, he was looking pretty calm right now, but of course this is the Premier class. This is the LS2 Helmets Mini GP70 British Championship, and it's going to be Ethan Sparks who starts in pole position with Henry McCartney alongside him. Hopefully Samuel Munson should have been starting in third, but now he's away back over the wall into the paddock, so it looks like that is his weekend over. Luke Fitchett will be starting 4th place with Ronnie Harris, another missing rider, should have been starting in 5th. Ruben Bray caused that red flag, but luckily he was up on his feet. He should have also been starting 6th. Noah Gilroy will be starting 7th, with Ollie Sims 8th. Harry Payne will be starting 9th. So we're missing 3 riders out of the 9 that we should have here, so a slightly smaller grid.
Yeah, exactly, and I've just seen them carrying the rear wheel of Samuel's bike up in the air, so something's going on with his front sprocket. Must have locked up or something with the gearbox or something, but it's quite annoying for him because he's had a couple goes to get it right, and they've just obviously not been able to find the problem, but hopefully he'll be able to fix it for the next round at Rara.
Hopefully so. So now it is time. My name is Lewis Ray, and alongside me for this final race of the weekend, this Mini GP70 Race 3, will be Sylvan Mancy, British Talent Cup rider. It's great having you here, and it's going to be a great race. We've seen what was starting to be a great race, which sadly got ended early, so now it's time to get a full rerun of this. 2 warm-up laps, they've had enough time, hopefully, to get enough heat into their tyres and into their brakes. But it's the last race of the weekend for these guys. It's the last race of the weekend here at Llandow, here in Wales for the year. So now we wait for the point to the lights. We wait for the lights to go on. The lights go on, and the lights go off, and Ethan Sparks makes a great start. So is Luke Fitchett. Henry McCartney slightly slower, but he's still in 2nd position. He's not lost any. Ollie Sims seems to be in 4th place right now. Noah Gilroy straight on his tail, so it's a bunch pack already, and now Ethan Sparks out front. What can he do, and what can Henry McCartney do?
Yeah, well, I can see Henry is pushing to stay with Ethan, but Ethan's going for it. He is going all out just on these first couple laps, just to pull away from Henry, and it's working right now. He's just got that little bit more of a gap than he did on lap 1 at the first restart.
Yeah, and of course, the top 3 guys, the only person that did have the tyre warmers on is Luke Fitchett. So maybe in the first couple of laps, while they build up the confidence on them tyres, just making sure they are at 100%. Luke Fitchett might have an upper hand, but Henry McCartney is looking to make a move, but he cannot make anything work. He's just he's getting a gap. He's getting it closer and closer, and he's ready to pounce. He's so fast through this first sector as Ethan Sparks shows the way. Once again, the championship leader, 7 laps to go.
Yeah, exactly. You can see Henry is lining it. I saw him going into the chicane looking for a move, and then just into that left hand. He's preparing for it, but he wasn't able to do it that time round. But I think he's just learning to see what Ethan's doing. But looks like Ethan is pulling away right now. He ran deep it going into the last corner, but he's going for it.
Yeah, right now it was just under 2/10 of seconds. Ollie Sims is still in that battle with Harry Payne and Noah Gilroy further down in the pack, but Ethan Sparks leads the way. What is the gap going to be this time round? Is it going to be bigger? It looks like it will be. They come across the line now, it's up to half a second. Luke Fitchett is still there in that third. Luke Fitchett, it looks similar to race 1. He's just managing to keep tabs on these front 2.
Yeah, exactly. He just needs to, as soon as he's with them, if he can just go with them, that's perfect. But I don't know right now whether they're just edging away. But Henry McCartney puts a lovely, smooth move up the inside of Ethan. But Ethan's going to get the drive out the corner and get the cut back on him.
Yeah, Ethan Sparks back into the race lead once again straight away as the marshals look on to what is going to be a perfect, amazing race. 6 laps to go. It's short, but it's going to be sweet because Luke Fitchett's also there. It's going to be a free bike scrap. We know how great he is on the brakes here, but will Henry McCartney find something? Will he not lose that much time on the brakes? Will he start using his head and working out where he is slower than Ethan Sparks because he's so fast through this first sector? You just see him close the gap as we go through here. You can see the gap's already closed. He takes a much tighter line. He can get the weight shifted a lot further on the bike and a lot faster, which means he just gets a better turning angle, a better line through that corner. But now we know how fast he is through his back section, but once again, doesn't look like he's going to be able to make it work.
Yeah, well, you can see Ethan's doing a perfect wide sweeping, a bit like what I was doing on the Moto 4 to get it turned, and it's just working for him because Henry's doing a tight line, and that's what's allowing Ethan to not get overtaken in the left-hander like Henry was doing at the start in the first race.
Yeah, and Ethan Sparks having a little look there, seeing if anyone was there, but nobody is there this time round. Anyway, last time round it was 4/10 of a second between first and second. This time it is now 5/10 of a second, so nothing really in it. Ethan Sparks sets the fastest lap of the race, a 47.5. That's a very, very fast lap time. 2/10 off the lap record, so we're just going to have to wait and see what is going to happen, because Ollie Sims and Henry Harry Payne and Noah Gilray are still in this battle, so there's really two groups in this race.
Yeah, exactly, and this is what I love to see. I love to see 1 and 2 groups rather than all split up. Luke's just losing tabs on Henry McCartney right now, but I think if Henry can just stick it on Ethan, then Luke will get that gap, and hopefully he might be able to pit both of them.
Yeah, and Henry McCartney, I've noticed every single lap, even last race, he's been using a lot of the roads coming out of this corner here. He uses all the track, and then he's been almost on the white line at some laps. But now, Ollie Sims and Noah Gilray are going at it. Ollie Sims dives down the inside. Noah Gilray has to set up the bike just slightly. But Sullivan, I think you'll know yourself as a rider that when you're in this battle with these guys, it's really what starts to bring you on and brings your lap times down rather than just running by yourself.
Exactly, they're just going to be pushing Ollie on right now, and it's pushing Noah on, whoever's at the front of the pack. But I think Harry Payne might start to try and get involved now because he's learning from these guys, but only 3 laps to go. So I think Harry's just losing tabs on them, but if he can just stay with them, he might be able to get a move on them when them two make a mistake.
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. 3 laps to go in this race, and 3 laps to go for the weekend here at Llandow. We're watching the battle for 4th place at the moment. Ollie Sims leads this pack through the final corner right now. 2 laps to go when they cross the line this time around. Harry Payne coming through that corner that he had his incident on. It's so great to see him back, and it's so great to see him still on the lap times. He's still not slow. He's so fast considering what's happened. But here's your race leaders, and here's Sparks still in control of it.
Yeah, Henry's keeping tabs on him, but he's just looking like he's just losing the edge on Ethan, and that's a bit annoying for Henry, I bet. But I think he looks like he's on him, but Ethan's just got a little bit more drive out the corner or speed on the straight, and it's just allowing Henry to lose him a little bit, but he's catching him on the brakes into there.
Yeah, and now we go into the last lap of the race. Ethan Sparks leads the way from Henry McCartney. It takes 1 mistake coming across the line last time around. It was 3/10 of a second between first and second, and now Henry McCartney was a lot closer than 3/10 of a second. Ethan Sparks is under pressure, and Henry McCartney is looking for a move and looking for an opportunity to take the race lead on the last lap. It looks like it's going to be down to this last sector right now. It's so bumpy for his part of the track. Ethan Sparks is having to defend for his life. He's going to have to get pinpoint perfect. 1 mistake, and Henry McCartney's going to be there. Henry McCartney looks so desperate, looks so aggressive right now. It's going to come down to the hairpin. Henry McCartney, he's been slightly worse on the brakes, but he looks a bit too far back for a move, and Ethan Sparks goes defensive as it is. It comes to the line, and he's done it. He takes the checker flag and wins the race from Henry McCartney and Luke Fitchett. Ethan Sparks, a pure masterclass from him as we wait for Ollie Sims, Noah Gilray and Harry Payne to round the final corner as they come to now tip it in. It looks like Ollie Sims will get that 4th place. Noah Gilray just behind, and Harry Payne a very respectable 6th.
Yeah, exactly. Harry done lovely there. I'm quite happy for him to be on the back of them.
Yeah, Ethan Sparks takes the race win from Henry McCartney, and Luke Fitchett rounds off our podium. Ollie Sims welcome home in 4th with Noah Gilray in 5th and Harry Payne in 6th. So great race. Maybe not as close as what we're expecting from the first restart, but it was a great race nonetheless. It just wasn't the same dogfighting as what maybe we were expecting. Maybe that was just because they had time to relax and maybe think more about what happened and how they can improve and how they can block off the other rider.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, I loved how they've done it. It's perfect riding by all of them. Shame that Henry and Luke couldn't get involved in that. Like win or get a win this weekend, but you can just see how well and how hard they fought this weekend.
And next round will be at Rowrah. So Rowrah is a circuit how do you rate it as a bike rider? How do you rate it for these Metro Kit bikes and for all classes such as the Mini Motos and the Extreme 200s?
Yeah, I've done quite well there previously in the past. We're going to see if we can get up there, but it depends how busy we are. But yeah.
Well, Sullivan, it's been great having you in the commentary box. Will we see you at Rower yourself?
Oh, I'm going to try just for you.
Thanks, Sullivan. It's been great having you. Hope to see you there. If you do, I'll come say hello. But that was Sullivan Mincy, British Talent Cup rider. And best of luck of the season for him and from everyone here at FAB. It's been great having him, and it's been great watching them on track. And Ross is here once again to wrap things up after a great day of racing.
Great weekend of racing, more like. Lewis, come on, where's your enthusiasm? Well, that is it then. That's it for round 6 of the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship here at Llandow, the South Wales Karting Centre. The rain stayed off, and it's been a glorious day on track and off it. Thank you very much for tuning in, wherever you may be around the world. It has been a real pleasure here from myself and from Lewis, I'm sure, bringing you all of the action. Lewis, any final thoughts?
Yeah, we'll see you at Rower. We're going to expect more of the same racing. Last time we were here at Wales, second time this year. It's been great being back here. Weather's been beautiful, and we hope to see you all at Rower.
Absolutely. Season getting into the crunch time now. Round 6 of 8 is done, but there's still opportunities for changes to happen, for drama to ensue. So we'll see you at round 7, Rower, 16th, 17th, 18th of September. Bye for now.